on components?
You
Like
practiced
when I
it in the
got new
mirror, so you're
mugs
used to it being
today.
backwards.
Oh, that's really pretty.
Yeah, our
Did
friend
they-
had them made
Did
for
they lay a
us.
paper on top of it when doing that? Is it burned around it, or is it just?
It's like a clay. It's like an enamel paint that they it's a clay clay coffee mug which they painted over with enamel paint, which I think all they did was simply just do a
Put a
cutout.
stencil down, maybe.
Stencil
Yeah.
down.
Well, I was asking because on Lindsay's it looks like there's a blackened mark around the middle part of it, which makes it looks like it had been burned into, and you can do that with raku kilns, specifically where you put right around the middle part. Does it not look darker? Is that just shadow on me?
I think it's just.
It might just be shadow. It's a cool thing
No,
about it.
it's
You can
darker.
do that. You can do that
Yeah,
with
darker outline.
not only enamel but some forms of paver and then some leaves where you burn it into it and then take it out a little early so you get an imprint. And
Neat.
cool stuff to essentially leave burn marks into the glaze.
To leave burn marks.
Who said leave?
So is everyone in the game?
I'm going to attack Quintus.
Understandable.
Zafari, you know he deserves this. He just made a fucking terrible pun. Leave this one be.
All right, Lindsay. Keenan, you heading into tabletop?
Yeah, my video seems frozen on my end, so.
Oh, okay.
It says cannot start the video camera. I've never had that happen before.
You want to exit out and rejoin?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
What happened?
Only the highbrow humor happening in tabletop. Only the best.
All right, are you guys ready for this? Let's see if I can do this. It's been so long.
Saying the same thing, which is weird because video was working a second ago and then I froze and I noticed that I wasn't moving in my own thing, which is weird. And it says choose a different video camera in settings.
Can't do that.
I think I'm pretty sure you just have the one, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh my god, guys.
It's 3D.
On
This
my
isn't-
Christian server?
This isn't in the capture, unfortunately, right? We don't get to see tabletop in the re-record.
If he
No.
if
We
he
do
shares
not
screen,
know.
if he shares screen, we'll see it.
Yeah, so we won't.
Oh man, I need to get tissues. Hold on. Yes, squeakers, McGee.
Oh.
Let me do a quick Google search.
Is the drivers on your camera funky?
I mean, I was just on video a second ago, right?
Yeah.
Honey.
I've never adjusted any of the drivers. Failed to start video camera zoom. I'm just gonna I can restart, or I can also just like re-plug in, or I don't know. Let's try this fucker out.
Is that Kilroy?
Who, this guy?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or Perhaps this guy.
Hey, there you are, Keenan.
Hey, we can see you. Nice.
I just had to restart it, I guess, and replug it in and reconnect everything.
Goodness.
Oh, we had the same idea. I believe white is Saul Scalaman.
Yes.
No,
Oh my gosh.
no. I draw the line at that.
I thought you were doing
You stop that nonsense right the fuck now.
Corn.
You remember when that was such a big phenomenon for like a whole year? People were like, "It's so crazy, fucking Coney
There's-
2012," and then it was
there's a
really
warlord
just
out
a
there.
fucking big ass sham. And you're like, "Oh, what?" Oh god.
All right. Yeah, welcome to my nightmare, Keenan. Alrighty.
What was the weird thing? What was the where was the line drawn?
Coney
Coney
2012.
2012. I don't know why the line's drawn there. Just because it was 2012 and no one wants to remember those years.
Interesting.
All right. Is everyone ready to go? I've got the character sheets, their sneaky snacks, their everyone inside. Oh, okay.
I'm a big fan of Among Us. I like that. I've never heard that before. Seems
Among Us.
accurate.
Among Us.
Alrighty.
I think we've learned we're all fucking children.
I think
Is
we've learned that
new
already.
Information.
Keaton just walks away like, oh god.
Alrighty. So, everyone ready to go?
Mhm.
Okay. So previously, stuck in the dungeons below of Ruith, you were then brought into courts, where all of you, to some degree, managed to expose Lyra as the vampire traitor on top of the Council of Evermeet. A chaotic battle ensued where she then summoned her vampire thralls to rip apart the populace in the stands and bleachers of the forum, which currently is still happening. But with Lyra apprehended, Orlane and Anarian in a bit of a fugue state after their compulsion has ended. At this point, all of you are still in the middle and the thick of it, as far as the entirety of the stands of the forum are still under immense attack from many vampire thralls. At this point, I just want to go around and see what all of you are going to do. As what have I said about fucking memes while we fucking play?
Sorry.
So at this point, I'm just gonna go around. I'm just gonna ask what you want to do, and you can be as creative as you want with it. And then depending on that, I'll just tell you how many spell slots.
My beautiful handiwork.
Depending on how many spell slots you want to expend to pretty much help the area. So we'll start with Hazonia. What do you feel like you can do right now to assist the ensuing chaos that's happening?
Well, I guess first and foremost, after seeing the trio kind of disapparate away, you did mention that Feldo was at the court hearing before everything went down. Is her, and did you also say that who else was there? It
So
was another-
currently Renela and Felda are currently near the dugout, currently dealing with some bystanders as they are kind of more or less shepherding people into the dugout as vampire thralls are besetting them.
Okay.
Felda has picked up a spear and is more or less just kind of holding them back, with Renela trying to cast holy magic to keep them at bay, as several vampire thralls are besetting them and trying to lash out at them, as well as any passing civilians.
I guess also something I wanted to check, like how far away is everyone else from us now? Because you did mention that we were kind of,
You're about 30 feet away.
yeah. Oh, from all that. Okay. I thought
Yeah.
we were much farther away based on last session.
No. Lyra was not able to get too far.
Okay. Well, I guess first and foremost, Sonia's going to want to find something to help defend herself with. Are there any other guards nearby or anyone within earshot that I can?
You're still sort of in the middle of this forum, and so you're about 150 feet away from the outer area of this circular forum, and so Felda is about 150 feet away from you.
Okay. I just kind of, I guess, like just shout out, just like, "Mother, do you have anything else on you?" If she can hear me. Too far away.
As you're yelling, you can kind of imagine it is cacophonous within the forum now, as all the silent spells have been dissipated, as all of the remaining wizards who have been focusing on those spells are now focusing on surviving.
I guess just link up with the rest of the group. There's not a whole lot else I can do.
Okay. Moving on. Findemir, what are you doing in the middle of this ensuing chaos?
I'm gonna head over to an area.
All right. As you rush over to Anarian, he is kind of holding his head. He kind of just blink up at the sunlight. He's still in this fugue state as you rush over to him.
I'll kind of like reverse the grip on my sword so I can like put it on the ground, kneel down, and put my hand on his chest.
He's standing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Father, are you all right?
Where, how? Oh, my head. What's happening?
Well, looks like you've been charmed by a vampire and put all us on trial for treason. But
make an insight check for me.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sorry, I gotta switch it to public rolling.
It's all good. Also-
Natural one.
Natural one. Yeah. Okay. You go ahead and continue to speak to him. How much time are you going to spend? Are you going to try to spend on this, as everything around is screaming? The bleachers are now filling up with just sprays of blood cascading into the air as more and more thralls are just ripping apart, as guards are having a harder and harder time trying to get through the throngs of escaping people.
Thralls are ripping apart? What do you...
Vampire, yes. So there are just elven people who are, with their bare hands and teeth, are shredding into the stadiums, into the bleachers of the forum, who are just ripping apart people. Guards are desperately trying to get into many of the areas where they are at, but because of the ensuing rush of panicked people, it's basically a stampede.
Is my animate object still up from last session?
Yes.
I'll bonus action send that in a direction to, if it's close enough. What's the closest being to that? Can it like help? Can it lift people? Can it close a door? Can it move an obstacle?
I mean, again, you guys are in the center of the forum, so you're from where you are with Anarian, you're somewhere about 135 feet away from the edge of the stadium in any direction. So if you want to send the animated trunk table to go and assist in some way, go ahead and describe how you want to assist it.
Well, I think it only can move 30 feet, so it probably can't do anything.
Yeah, like I
where it
said,
is.
this is not really a turn by turn thing. This is a kind of a time lapse sort of thing. Like I'm going one by one to basically go, how much power do you want to expend, and give me a creative way on how you think you can assist with what is going on. And then we can determine how many spell slots is being used, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Well, then what I would be doing after making sure that Anarian's fine is, if I can, I'd be Eldritch blasting anybody that's within range. That would be the thralls. And then if I need something up for concentration, it would either be, if I can see a way for that to be advantageous, another animate objects, which can be done 120 feet away. So if there's like a doorway that I could open, or if there's some, I don't want it to just purely attack something. If there is, because it's a stampede, if there's a way that I can like direct the flow of people into a safe direction or away from thralls or something like that, that's what I would do.
Okay. I would say there's not really any doors, because this is like basically a giant amphitheater / gladiator arena. What the style of the forum is. If you want to use your trunk to more or less try to barrel through and kind of like help traffic people, funnel people into certain directions, that could certainly be done. And while you Eldritch blast certain targets in the stadium, does that sound like what you were going for?
Sure.
Okay. Back to Hazonia. Now that I think I made myself a little clear, what do you think that you'd be doing in this time lapse?
I guess I would jump into that dugout, or at least try to dash that way to try and help shuttle people, away from the hordes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So just trying to assist Velda and Renela
As best as possible. See if maybe one of them has at least a dagger or something I can grab onto to, at least look menacing.
Okay. In that dugout, I would say that easily there is a very battered and bloodied bow, probably what Felda was using out in the field. So using that, you can definitely try to pick off while also direct people through into the dugout and outside into the city.
Just, Hawkeye during the last act of Avengers, just
Sure.
doing my best.
Yeah, Keenan?
I can't be Eldritch blasting because I don't have my sword, which means I can't use any of my warlock spells.
That is right. That is right.
I will be standing there with my father in my hands, and it's like my dick in my hands, but worse, I guess.
Did you return Do you return the scimitar?
No, he still has a scimitar.
No, I still have that.
Okay.
Yeah, then I guess what I will be doing is I can dimension door many times, and I do have a steel wind strike. So if I'm willing to expend one steel wind strike if there's a group of thralls that I can do a substantial amount of damage to,
Okay.
and if there is a ability for me to just dimension door to take out one particularly menacing one or something, that's what I'll try to do.
Okay. I will say that
Wait,
the
just
more
dimension
power that you expend, the more help you're going to be, and more people are going to be saved. So with that expenditure of power, you can definitely save quite a bit of people.
Both of those don't require somatics, which is why I'm able to do them. I think everything else I have is, unless you would count a piece of iron and flame, which I don't think I could make with my sword. If I scratch on the ground, it sparks, not flame. Yeah, I think that's all I can do. So I'm willing to expend 1 6th level spell slot,
Okay.
which should be the Steel Wind Strike, and then 3 level 4 spell slots.
Okay. Cool. I'll go ahead and summarize your actions once we go through everybody. Hazonia, back to you. Just see how much resources are you trying to expend?
I guess also I just wanted to maybe use some of Hazonia's like academy training as a guard to help, maybe somehow help organize a little bit of a defense and get people, moving in an orderly fashion.
Are you wanting to use any of your arcane shots?
I haven't used any yet, so I got a few.
Okay. What are your arcane shots currently?
I have Shadow Arrow and Seeking Arrow. So I think Shadow Arrow would probably be the most helpful here to try and, maybe provide a little bit of cover by blinding some of the thralls.
Okay. Perfect. Alrighty. So next up, let's go to Safari. What are you doing in this moment? You're currently over by this wall of force that you see Calliope basically covered in ash and dust with a film of it just laid out across the ground as well. Your daylight spell is still going.
Yeah. How is Calliope looking?
I think she's looking fine. Just
Looking-
kind of tired.
Looking
She
okay.
used more muscles today than she has in basically the last 3 months.
In her entire
life. More arm strength today than I have ever used.
Okay. Well, if she's looking okay, then I am going to run towards the helpless citizens being torn asunder with my daylight spell to hopefully distract the thralls while, yelling for people to get to the exits, looking for anything to use as a weapon on my way.
Yeah, there's a fallen spear as you head to the edge of the forum, which you can pick up on your way there. Are you
Yeah.
expending any spell slots? Is there any sort of abilities or powers that you're willing to expend? Keep in mind, the more you use, the more chance that people are going to be saved.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna vamp out those motherfucking wings of mine.
Okay.
And if I can, like, if there are people that definitely look hurt and like that I can help immediately, like get back on their feet so that they can just run, I'll use up my lay on hands pool. I'll use
How much of your lay on hand pool do you use?
I'll use all of it if I have to, because
All right, mark
we're
it
in
off.
like a huge fucking arena, right?
Yeah, mark it off then.
I'll also use my healing hands if need be.
Okay.
Like on a pretty, like somebody that's like pretty fucked up. Actually, no, I think I'll save that for if I like make my way back around where Felda is.
Sorry.
Okay.
Let me mark off this. Where is it? There it is.
So yeah, mark off everything that you're using in that regard. Anything else?
I'll also use like a rebuke the violence somewhere.
Okay.
I believe is Safari's daylight still up and going strong, right?
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
That's
centered
120
on,
feet of craziness.
Yeah, but it's in the middle of the arena, which if you choose to maintain concentration,
it.
it can you move it?
I'll recast it if I have
Well,
to.
what I'm saying is that where it is currently now is basically creating a safe space.
Okay.
Nice.
I'll direct some people like to get into the sunlight,
Okay.
or make their way to the exit, whichever is like more convenient or
Okay.
safer for them. All
right. Mark off everything that you use.
right.
Quintus, you're up
I'll
next.
also maybe try
Yes.
a remove. Well, actually, I don't know if thralls.
No.
I'm a fucking idiot.
First,
And
One second.
yeah.
Is that it?
Daylight is not concentration, so I'll also pop off an aura of life.
Daylight's
Ew.
not concentration.
It is not.
Can you cast it multiple times at once?
Yes. I can
Wow.
cast it again so that we can get,
That's-
what is that? 240. I could cast it again and make another safe
you're-
area too.
You're telling me you could take this dark vampire-filled room and tell everyone that it's high noon.
Yes.
Okay.
So
sorry.
I'll pop that off too, and I will also cast Aura of Life.
Mark those spells off. Mark the healing touches. Mark your.
Friendly predator missile inbound.
And then
Yeah.
if I'm near Felda, I'll heal her too with my other healing paladin
Okay.
shit.
Quintus, you're up. Mark off
Um,
everything you did, Lindsay.
So once I notice that Calliope is no longer being assaulted by a vampire, I will drop the wall of force so they can actually move around.
Of which you then fall to the ground.
We'll
Cool.
talk-
All right.
How much
Ooh,
damage
cool
is that?
superhero landing.
Wait, how much damage is that?
Both you're 10 feet up.
So D6 of damage. Can you roll
yeah.
that for me?
And that's 16 points of healing to Felda.
Okay. Cool. So Quintus, you take. I'm not gonna punish you. You have the wherewithal to jump off before you. That'd be mean.
Oh.
But however, I will say that Orlane in his fugue state does fall to the ground and just lay on his back, just kind of groaning. Not currently a threat in any capacity.
Okay.
Um,
So I don't know where any of my components are for my spells, do I?
no, they were all apprehended.
Good talk.
When you came through the teleportation circle, all you
Okay.
have is the staff that was dropped by the wizard that kind of did the once over for all of you.
The
Yep.
real question is, does he have any pocket sand?
I just talked about pocket sand the other day.
Did they confiscate my sand? Would they?
They confiscate everything.
No,
so-
they wouldn't.
You
They'd be like, "He's
lost
a
your
dirty
sand."
wizard. Dirty
Okay.
wizard.
If that's the case,
I still
Then-
think as the best thing in this campaign, him just being like pocket sand to a fucking bone devil that was chasing him.
Barb
to
devil.
To
Yeah,
this
just be like,
day, yeah,
what?
barb devil. To this day, the most ridiculous effective thing I've ever seen. Just like, I've got spells, sand. You're like, what?
Effective.
It worked.
no. The best thing is that it bounced off his chest, and he looked at me like, "What?"
What are you doing, Quintus? What are you expending?
I would like to assess the situation and how far away is the dugout that they're trying to
You're very far from the dugout. You're about, say, 180 feet, 185. Because Lyra was running away toward the main entrance to try and get away and made it about 60 feet away. So
I have a question. Do
Yep.
I have in my spell book the spells from the level up, or do we have to wait until long rest to get those?
you'd have to wait till long rest to get those spells.
Good talk. Just wanted to see if I had radiant in my spell book or not. Would I be able to discern any clusters of thralls that I would be able to fireball without harming citizens?
No, absolutely. Yeah, it is. No, it is pure havoc. There is intermingled with intermingled with civilians and vampires currently.
Okay. Are vampire elves immune to sleep?
Probably.
Probably. In that case,
Is it a
I
vampiric thrall or is it an elf?
That's a good point, but I don't have time to think about that. So I am going to polymorph myself into a giant mammoth, and I am going to try to stomp on some thralls.
Okay, good to know. A little difficult to basically. I can work with that in a non feedback kind of way. Is that all you're doing? Is being a mammoth and doing your thing?
If I see
Isn't
if I see,
Polymorph require a caterpillar cocoon?
unless you have a material,
He has an arcane focus.
I have a staff.
The only materials he needs because he picked up a staff off the ground is the ones that cost money.
Yes, that's correct.
So the caterpillar
Uh,
cocoon is occupied by my staff. Well, the staff I'm borrowing.
Would that also work for if I? Sorry, we'll talk about this later. I've never heard this before. I don't understand.
Yeah, real quickly, just for spell casting, you can either have a component pouch, which you use for all the components that you need for the materials that you need for spells, or you can have an arcane focus, which issues all that, except for components that have cost to them.
What the fuck?
So the reason that you're
So,
using a component pouch is because you're multi-classed into a warlock, and if you're multi-classed, you need a component pouch. Otherwise, you have to hold 2 arcane focuses.
Both of my arcane forces are the same thing. It's a sword.
Because he's a swords bard.
Yeah.
Well, then you might not need any.
Also, as a bard, uniquely among spellcasters, you can sing, so you don't need to have anything in your hands. Anything you say can be a spell component, verbally.
Sure.
Yeah, we
Well,
can
verbally, yeah. Anyways,
can look into that in a bit, but in any
I've just
case,
yeah. Sorry.
yeah, no worries. So
Where
yeah,
is the wizard actually? Before I polymorph myself, the wizard that I grabbed the staff from can I see him anywhere?
yeah, he's by the now big crater in the ground, and he's kind of just volleying magic missiles into the crowds currently.
Okay. I don't want to gimp him, so I'm gonna misty step over to him, hand him the staff, and I need the staff for polymorph though. Fuck.
Do you need it to maintain concentration?
Does not. You can just cast it, drop it, and move.
Then I will do that.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Finally, Calliope, what are you doing to assist currently?
cool. I am gonna get as close to either a high up point or my mother, whatever is closer.
Mother is definitely closer.
I'm gonna get to her because the last time there was a bunch of undead surrounding a bunch of people and massacres everywhere. I got teleported out of the plane, so I'm gonna kind of stick close. And then I'm going to spend 5 2nd level slots and 2 3rd level slots to cast Healing Word on anyone who starts to fall to any of the vampires as my bonus action, and the entire round be just almost pretty much water bending fucking metal as different fucking swords start flying out of the air, different weapons and spears and axes and mauls, kind of with the Eldritch Blast just hitting back and forth on every single area I can while putting out healing. For anyone who starts to, like, when someone goes unconscious, bring them back up immediately and hit that person that's being attacked so that they can get to the safe zone.
Okay. Yes, Keenan.
If I can notice that it's at any point with the passive or whatever, can I start working in tandem wherever I see Calliope shoot or whatever? That's what I'll focus my energy on, is like those thralls that are doing damage.
Yeah. I'm just asking for expenditures of power and whatnot, and then I'm going to narrate everyone together, basically.
Yeah. I will also spend all of my healing light, all 4 of my G6s.
Okay.
So that's a lot of healing.
All right. So let me narrate this. Yes, Quintus.
Is this going to last longer than my polymorph is going to last? Because if I come out of polymorph, I'm going to try to invisibly.
No. It's going to last. Your polymorph will last an hour. You're going to be fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So first things first that happens as all of you begin to scatter. Orling on the ground kind of weakly gets up as a now large bipedal bear with large opposable thumbed claws just comes over, grabs the face of Orlain and slams it hard once and twice into the ground. Orlain does not move after that. Jareda then kind of runs over to Anarian as you get up from Findamir, as you make sure that he's all right. Jareda kind of picks up Anarian, cradles him in his arms, and just starts bolting toward an exit. Does not acknowledge you, just does her thing. But as the only thing that she does is just make eye contact with you. As you nod, you run into the stands and immediately start blitzing with your sword, with your steel wind strike, hitting once, twice, 3 times, just dotting across the Colosseum as the fairy just swings down smiting vampire thralls left, right, and doing this circular aerial strikes once, twice. Eventually, she grabs your arm and tosses you over to another area where you then sword strike into another group of enemies as your now animated table is now heading in and breaking a barricade down, letting another flow of people coming through. And that time, as Findamir, as you another vampire thrall tries to ambush you, as a sunbeam rips into the vampire thrall, eviscerating it and turning it to ash. As Isolde is there with Calliope constantly throwing out these autumn leaves, bringing people up, giant gash marks through their chest and neck. As she is sending out these sunbeams out in almost like a laser focused pinpoint, shredding into the vampire thralls one by one. More and more weaponry starts to appear out of the air, striking down almost like artillery strikes into many of the foes. A giant trumpet roar as comes barreling through, helping and breaking in through that barricade with your animated table, Findamir, as a giant mammoth goes ahead and just starts shredding apart and stamping down much of the fleeing vampire thralls, chasing the people being shepherded into the middle of the arena where the daylight is saving them and keeping them at bay. Grouped together, they are smashed and eviscerated by the light as the mammoth swings back and forth and trumpeting more and more people to kind of follow and enter in the center of the arena. Finally, Hazonia is shooting off arrow after arrow, them going blind, setting up attacks for Calliope. As blind and aimless, they become easy targets for the rest of the party members. And directing more and more with authority, she is now shepherding people out into the dugout and back into the city. It takes a solid 30 minutes of just constant, nonstop battle over and over and over again, until finally it dies down. Piles of ash and dust litter along with blood and just a few people that you were not able to save or right at the beginning of the massacre. All of you now stand currently in the middle of the arena, soaked in blood, heaving, panting, with just a small group of individuals you know that also helps in helping. Renela, Felda, Isolde, Bren, Pashion are currently there, as Pashion, Bren, during your flyby, Safari, saw Bren and Pashion fighting back to back, taking out a large clump of vampire thralls who garnered their attention. Pashion being quick and light on the feet with the rapier, casting spells, as Bren, almost with bare hands, just starts ripping people apart, the skeletal wings driving deep like daggers and shredding them apart as well. But now it is quiet, almost an echoey silence within the center. What do all of you do?
Just really quickly, because I didn't hear his name described. Is Arathor here too? Is he okay?
Arathor is missing.
Okay. And
as you look around,
Isolde is around. I did hear her name.
Yes.
Okay.
As you look around, Calliope, you notice Arathor is not there.
I'm gonna go ahead and de-anamorph.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, sir. I'm gonna go.
Transformers, wizards, and
Has anyone else seen Arathor, Anarion, the bear? What was her name?
Greta.
Right, Jareda, Arathor, and Anarion. Anyone see where they went?
Did
Find
I
any bodies?
see them at all when I was a mammoth, like with a high vantage point?
I would say that you would definitely have seen a large bipedal bear carrying an Aryan carefully and just rushing toward an exit at one point. Arathor, you did not see too much of.
The bear I saw carrying your father.
Is Orlane fucking dead?
No, Orlane is unconscious.
I'm gonna tie him up. I feel like
Okay.
we should tie him up. We should probably tie him up, maybe.
Make a survival
Oh.
check.
Search his person while that's happening.
Okay.
And how far away is he from the rest of the party?
He is about, since you guys are at the center where that crater is, he's about 35, 40 feet.
21.
Okie dokie.
Did I hear the question that Isaac posed?
Which question
35?
was that?
Did I
Where-
see an area on leave?
Yeah, no, you saw, Jareda made eye contact. The bear, yeah.
I'm asking if I heard him. So, but yes, I would just be like, I did see them. Jareda grabbed him. They headed out that door. And then
Okay.
I'll continue searching Orlane.
As you
I'm
search.
gonna go hug my brother.
Okay. So you can't tie him up since you don't have rope or any of your belongings currently.
We take off his clothes and tie him up in his own clothes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
Rip,
If he's wearing
Rip like a
wizard's robes,
cloak.
I'll tear that shit up and make
Yeah.
it under
rip out his cloak up or whatever.
Just a
Oh, wait.
naked metal
resourceful
man.
bondage.
Don't think his cloak will rip.
He doesn't have to be super.
Well, then we figure
What?
out that we can't rip his cloak because it's magic, and then we'll rip his pants up. I don't know. His shirt.
So
You ever been hog-tied in your own pants?
you go ahead and
By-
tie down. You take off his pants, leaving him in his underclothes as you rip it into shreds of cloth, where you then tie his and bind his hands behind his back.
Does he have any spell components or anything? I said I searched him.
He doesn't have any spell components, and as you kind of pat him down, he just feels metallic and solid. As you go ahead and start searching through pockets, he doesn't really have anything on him, per se.
I tossed the cloak to
What about
Finn.
his weaponry, the little rings that he was throwing around that were magically returning?
Currently not there.
Does anybody know what this
He just has his cloak and his
skin
clothes.
is?
I believe it's some kind of animate armor.
How do I take it off?
How did you take it off? Would that be an Arcana check?
That
Tell
would be
me-
that would be an Arcana check.
Hopefully it's by punching him in the face repeatedly. That's the best way to take off metal armor, I've been told.
In the meantime, I guess I'm going to
Um,
be looking around for Arathor, seeing if I can see him anywhere or find any evidence of him.
Okay.
25?
Bows.
25. Gorion immediately, you just see him walk out of into your periphery and just kind of just kneel down and kind of just place a hand hovering over his body and just kind of looks over and goes, "Quite rare. It is a bit of a symbiotic relationship with this magic item. Cannot willfully take it off."
It's a curse of some kind, isn't it? Technically?
No, not quite. You're thinking of something else. And also, how would you know that?
We got that ooze, and I identified it.
All
You
right.
said symbiote.
All right, you can make that reach. Even though I know for a fact that's not what you were thinking.
Is the cloak magical?
The cloak is pretty pristine. It's fairly magical, yeah.
I'll take it. I'm gonna take I don't want him to have I don't want him to have shoes.
Good
I don't want him to
goddamn
have.
thing.
I don't want him to have any staff, rod, nothing. I want him to be tied up in his underwear with not a single component, nothing nearby, very well secured.
You
Findamir
definitely
there,
make an Arcana check for me, Findamir.
Maybe gag him too.
The underpants of flying.
11.
11. I'll give you the cloak just because you just with the flourish of earlier of what he tried to do. Other than that, you sense nothing other magical.
All right, I'm done searching him. Somebody else should too. He's a tricky bastard.
I'll cast Detect Magic with my quickened ritual if I can.
All right, you go
I'm a-
ahead.
I'm gonna
You go ahead
drag him unceremoniously over to the rest of the group.
Okay. You need your book for that, don't you, though, Quintus?
Do I need it if I'm not actually doing the ritual and it's just quick and casting?
I mean, it's part of your kit.
Is he the one casting it, or is it Gorion?
Or is it
casting
Gorion?
I mean, it would be Quintus casting it, yes.
Okay, okay. We need to get our belongings and make sure they don't fall into the wrong hands.
Felda is just kind of just looking down at Orlane, spits on him, which comes out more blood than spit, and just looks around and walks over to you, Calliope, and goes, "Where's Arathor? Did you see him?"
I haven't found him. I've been looking.
That's not good. And she just goes ahead and just walks over to you, Hazonia, grips your shoulder and goes, "You need better aim." Taps it on the shoulder and kind of just grabs you by the wrist and kind of just has you fall down into the dugout. All right. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm
I've
Oh,
checking.
joined
I'm
it.
sorry. Safari. Bren, it currently in his normal state, but you can see that his eyes have this kind of clouded over effect as if he has cataracts or glaucoma. And you can see like these little dark veined black marks across like crow's feet that kind of just stretch out from his eyes, slightly receding even now.
I'm just gonna hug him. I'm glad he's safe.
He doesn't resist. He does like a half-hearted hug back, but you can tell just he's exhausted and he's
Yeah.
tired to fight back. Pashion kind of just places a hand on your shoulder, Safari. No, don't worry. I got him.
I'm just glad you're both safe.
Yeah, tell that I tell him myself, but Findamir seems busy. Tell him to be safe, but we need to head out. We need to make sure the rest of the city is not as infected.
Yeah. All right.
Come on, love. And goes in and just kind of takes Bren by the shoulder and wheels him away. Findamir, you hear Pashion yell out, "Be safe, brother!"
I'll stop, turn up. You stay alive, you fuck.
Gods know I try.
Keep that handsome husband of boyfriend. I don't know, whatever. Keep them safe too.
No. You stop that. No. And he just kind of stumbles away with Bren, who just kind of looks at him funny. Just like, no, don't worry about it.
All right. I will keep kind of one hand on Orlane, and then can I look around and see? There were people that were getting wounded. What about? I know we've done our own thing in the center. What the hell is going on the outside now?
So currently, the entirety of the forum is practically empty at this point, save for dismembered limbs and dead bodies and lots of blood, dust, and ash. In the middle, there is some stragglers of wounded civilians who, as it has calmed down, clerics have now rushed in to treat as well as they can, but there are not very many clerics, and now there are now field medics now trying to wrap up as many people as they can. Yes, Quintus, you're muted.
Once I notice that there are people who are still in need of medical attention, I would attempt to help as much as I can.
Okay. Give me a medicine check.
Okay. Ooh. That is 25.
Okay. you roll up your sleeves and immediately start heading over to some of the individuals and kind of wrapping up the ones who you feel are the most critically injured yet savable. Gorion is kind of stepping in time with you and starts kind of reminding you of suture patterns, anatomy, kind of listing off basic field medic stuff as you kind of recite it yourself, going through the motions. How much time are you spending? That 25 can take you far, but I just want to know how much time you're spending.
If I can keep an eye on the party, and if like I can try to get a sense of like when they think that I think that they need me, if that makes sense. Like to see if any of them.
I need to know how much time you're spending, because your lives are kind of depending on you currently, and so it's not like you can just drop it in the middle. It's like, well, spleen's halfway, and you can do the rest.
I would spend like try to get as many of the critically wounded as stable as possible, and once I know that they can handle without me, then I would step away. So maybe like an hour and a half.
Okay. All right. All of you see Quintus start running over and start helping out as many people as they can. What are the rest of you doing as Safari, Bren, and Pashion kind of just start exiting out to where Jareda and Narian left? What are you doing now with the group, as Findamir still has an unceremonious grip on Orlane, who is still very much unconscious?
I wanted to check in with Felda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over at the dugout, Renela is over there himself, also kind of casting some healing spells here and there. He is worn out. You can see like dark shadows under his eyes. You can see his limbs and fingers shaking as if just from fatigue. Felda kind of looks over. You can see her start to stumble, try to help, and then just kind of fall back into a seat and just grip the side and just start breathing a little raggedly.
Just kind of try to support her a little bit so she doesn't quite fall over.
Thank you, dear. Thank you.
How long were we gone?
What do you mean?
Traveling across plains, time, it becomes fluid.
Right.
How long have you been out in
Yes.
the wilds? I heard you were fighting with the Shadowkai.
Yes, well, when you left, a couple days ago, Orlane tried to get as much power as possible. Let's see here. Was it a week ago now? How long was Teltempo ago? About a week? 3 days? When we had word that Teltempo had fallen, he just started amassing power. That's when Arathor and I made a plan where one of us would stay behind, the other would go and find you all to see if you needed any help. He kept mentioning Isolde and how important she was. I don't know how true that is, but who knows?
Are you acquainted with their mother?
I know of her. We were acquainted for several months, yes.
Well, just kind of turning around. I'm assuming she's still with the rest of the group.
Yeah, Isolde currently has the mithril in her hand and just kind of surveying and kind of looking down at Orlane and surveying the area. Occasionally, she kind of is walking over to severely wounded and just pumping in some healing vines, kind of come out of the ground and kind of just start spraying these almost like dandelion spores out as many wounds start to heal up.
Well, we found her, and She has a gift I think you may want to take a look at.
How do you mean?
During our journey for Calliope and Finn's father, we came across a missile.
Yeah, I saw the light show.
Well, I have to imagine this has to factor in to the defense somehow. We have to be able to use this thing. Anything you would know about? Or?
I know as much about mythos as the average elf, unfortunately. They're legends, myths at this point. I don't even think they have a mythal here in the Evermeet. And if they do, it's a high guarded secret.
Why don't we go check in with the others?
Yes, yeah. And she goes in and just grunts and stands up and looks over and goes, where did Nakath go?
That's a name I don't know.
The, Shadow Kai who accompanied me.
Mm.
She's a captain. Where'd she go?
Would I have noticed anything?
As you look around,
Passive perception?
no, you see no sign of a Shadow Kai around you.
Maybe they regrouped with the rest of the Shadow Kai?
Hopefully.
Just kind of
We-
offer her the arm, kind of like a loop thing, you know? Like you walking down the red carpet or something, that kind of thing.
She goes ahead and leans on you a little bit, limping along. As you limp along, she says to you, we really need to coordinate with the other elven races. We're losing a lot of time and ground. Back to the main group. What are all of you doing?
I'll also help stabilize people and such.
Okay. Are you spending the same amount of time that Quintus is? About an hour and a half?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's everyone else doing?
I would be doing kind of a mix of and if less, I think based on Safari being there and Quintus being there and the other elves that I think they're mostly covered. I'd be trying to help out a little bit more with that, and at the same time, maybe spend a quarter of the time, maybe half the time, trying to find out where Erithor went.
Okay.
If anyone saw him, anything I can find.
All right. You start trying to make an investigation check.
That's a terrible idea. That's not terrible. That's a 17.
As you start trying to mend individuals as best you can, you try to gently ask questions of one-legged individual and where they might have gone. Nothing. No sign, no mention. One of them says that they had dealt with one person who kind of just a one-legged individual who just pushed them toward the center of the ring as they sent out these waves of color out from them. But other than that, nothing.
But that's all the time I'm spending. Just...
Okay.
Of those that were getting healed, are there any guards, anybody that would I would see as like someone that would know where our stuff is, or what I know from previous experience in this town where it would classically be held in like a guardhouse or something?
Yeah, you would know that apprehended items would be held by held by the guard captain, and which in this case would be Lyra. And
Fuck.
so it would be probably in either her office, wherever that might be. And if you wish to talk to a guard captain, you can. Do you approach?
Yeah, I will, or I'll call him over. I want to keep pretty close eye on our lane.
Okay. Guard couple of guards step up. One of them kind of bleeding off the neck with 2 puncture marks, but otherwise not too bad. Another one who is his entire half part of his chest plate and shoulder is just ripped to shreds. The metal itself kind of crumpled in. And as they approach, they go, "Yes. What can we do for you?"
Meta knowledge, does that mean anything? I honestly, as Keenan and Finn, I don't know if puncture marks on the neck indicates, is he corrupted? Is he charmed? Is he like, I don't know how that.
Make an Arcana check.
Would my
I-
previous informing them of everything vampire stuff help him
Yeah.
with this check?
I mean, I didn't mention it specifically in that. I would say roll with advantage, Keenan.
Got a dirty 20 on my first. If that's enough, then was it Arcana?
Yeah.
Arcana. 20 and 17, so 20.
Yeah, so you would know kind of just with your now experience with undead and kind of the lore dump, you kind of put 2 and 2 together. He is not corrupted. He was attacked. It's dying as a result of being fed upon. That is the mark to change from human to vampire or mortal to vampire.
You don't need
just-
to also consume the blood of the vampire. It's not that like traditional.
This isn't supernatural.
No, he's right.
Depends. Sometimes you just need to even come in contact with a vampire to become a vampire, depending
A
on the lore.
creature killed by a vampire through feeding becomes a vampire spawn, at which point the vampire can then feed the blood of the vampire spawn of the vampire that turned them into a real vampire. But that would then you would lose control of that vampire spawn, which not very many vampires would want to do.
I realize
any
I've been
case.
zoning out process. Yes,
One of them weighs a hand in your face.
sorry.
Sir?
Just was processing some information. Lyra's office. We have all of our equipment there.
Looks to you and kind of looks to the crowd and is like, "We will send someone to fetch your things. Do you wish to have them be delivered to your home here, or are you planning on staying here in the
How far
forum?
is it? We might want to go ourselves right now. There is obviously probably more work to be done.
This is in the middle of them all stabilizing and healing people. Do you set off by yourself to go to go fetch everyone's things?
No. I'm just asking the question. How far is it? If
Oh,
if they're willing to
gotcha.
go get it, I want to know is it a day's journey? Is it a 1 hour? Like this is important on my decision dependent on that.
It is about maybe a 15-minute walk to get to because you're in the center of the city of Ruith, where a lot of the government buildings are at. So it's about a 15-minute walk back, probably with a wagon through a throng of people. So overall, it'd probably take you about 45 minutes to grab everyone's stuff if you choose to go and get them yourself.
I'm just gonna I'll shout out to the rest of the fabulous 5 that is us. And then I'll say I can grab our stuff, but it's 15 minutes away, and if possible, we could expedite that. Do we need to?
Is
Would
this
that
something
help?
is this something that would be done? Because we've got Quintus spending at least an hour and a half here. I think Soferi's spending an hour and a half with him. Is this in the midst of that?
Yes, it is.
So I've already spent my time. I think they've already spent their time. We could probably get it back by the time we're done and just have everything.
Yeah,
I'm not leaving Orlane alone.
That's valid. You can leave him with probably one of us.
One of the guards raised their hands like, if you like, we can take him to one of the dungeon cells within the guard captain's office.
The guard
I honestly
captain,
don't know.
Lyra?
Is it an anti-magic barrier?
Yes, we had it created for problem individuals. It's not a cell that has been used in a long time here in the Evermeet, but it is available.
Double the guard. We don't know what he knows. I would as secure as possible. But yes, I think that will do.
All right, you see both of the guards kind of reach over and lift Orlane underneath the arms and start to drag him out of the arena with you following.
Yeah, I will follow, and then I'm
Okay.
gonna head over to get this stuff. I will, if anybody's close enough, I'm gonna like relay that information very quickly. Orlane is going here. I'm going there. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Okay. As you pass by, Calliope is in the middle of kind of just questioning people, and you can relay that information very quickly to Calliope as you're walking by.
Okay.
All right. About an hour and 15 minutes pass at this point. Findemir, Orlane is thrown into the cell. It's not really a cell. It's more of just like a cubic barrier of purple energy with several crystals that kind of hang from the ceiling of the which is down a chamber below the main office of the guard captain's office. Once he's in there, the purple energy flares to life as the guards motion over two other guards to stand post and looks to you and says, how many guards do you think we need in order to stand post here? It is nigh invulnerable and cannot be deactivated without the crystal key.
First off, I want to make sure that he's no longer tied in his own clothes. If I can have him manacled, which I assume they have manacles.
Yeah, there's definitely manacles there.
Yeah, I would hand and foot. I want him to be immobile as possible.
Okay.
And then I would say, I don't know what the standard guard is here, but I would either say whatever the standard is with a few extra. The redundancy factor is we don't know who is still potentially not our friend, and we don't know if this place will be assaulted from the outside.
At those words, the guards kind of look at each other, and with your passive insight, immediately there is a bit of distrust as the guards look at each other and start to size each other up.
The ones here are probably the least at risk because they would have all been exposed. Now it's something to be wary of, but everyone here, if I'll make an insight check or use my passive insight, I assume with the injuries as they've been fighting thralls, as they were all exposed in this area together and exposed to daylight, that I would say if we need to, we can go. We can't do any testing here. I imagine that these men are the ones that you can trust.
Make a persuasion check.
Men and women and everything else. Sorry,
Yeah.
that was
Make a
incorrect.
persuasion check for me to try and ease their fears.
Elves, not men. Elves. Persuasion. Natural 20 for a 36.
Yeah, buddy.
Immediately taking charge with those words evened almost in a flippant manner of there's nothing to worry. You see all of the guards there give a sigh of relief and nod at you as one of them starts to motion for another individual come in, sending a message to gather several more guards to accompany and look over Orlane. Another one who had accompanied you, the one with the puncture marks, goes ahead and gather all of your things, put them into a wagon, and goes ahead and assists you in carrying that wagon back to the forum.
All right. Thank you.
Yes,
Just
Calliope.
just a very quick question for the last session. We noticed that Lyra had something that was magical on her. Did all of us notice that, or was that like
Only
because
I mean, yes, all of you noticed that a necklace was taken off.
okay,
That was given to the wizard who had done the once over on all of you.
right? Okay, cool. All right, just making sure. I just wanted to see if that was laying around, if that gives us any evidence of what was going on and how people are evading things or things like that. But if we already know it's in someone's hands that is semi trustable at least, then we're good.
Okay.
Is that guy around, by the way?
He is not. He had left toward the end to because at this point it'd be mass chaos in the streets. So he went to assist with that.
Okay.
Hizonia, is there anything else that you would like to do? Some things did happen toward the end of the last session. Yeah.
So
Oh,
as we kind of reconvene with the group, I'm assuming Finn is still out handling Orlane and getting the supplies, but just kind of dawn on her that she remembers and just look to the location where she saw the individual put the letter on one of the amphitheater seats. And just kind of to everyone, I'll be right back. Just kind of jog to go over there.
Okay, make an investigation check.
Good thing that's one of the best things I'm good at, you know.
Natural one.
Reliable talent.
Yeah.
21.
21. Okay. It is slick as you are going up these stone and wooden stairs and levels, and now that you're up here, you can see a lot of the damage that has been done to many elven people, and you take a moment to assess how bad it could have been if none of you were there. And despite that, you can just see just bodies piled and crushed from stampeding fearful individuals out into some of the corridors, mangled and broken. You see several people who have been eviscerated, dismembered on the bleacher seats. And not only that, there's a lot of broken furniture currently around, just with all the scuffle, which is very odd considering that when you approach the area that you're pretty sure you saw from a distance, it's remarkably untouched, as if repelled, as if a small safety haven was created here. No sign of blood or struggle or violence in at least a 15-foot cube diameter. And as you look in underneath the seats, you do find a yellowed piece of parchment parceled with a wax seal on it. Do you go to grab it?
This isn't really her. Actually, no. Can I do an Arcana check?
Sure. Yeah.
Just want to make sure that I'm not going face first into instant
If you like,
death.
you can make it. If you like, you can make an investigation check to see if it's
Okay.
trapped. If that's what you're going
Okay.
for.
Yeah, I'll do that. 27.
Before you reach out, hand back, you go ahead and just kind of just look over and find a piece of rubble. You kind of just lift it slightly just to see if there's anything around. Just looks like a piece of paper.
Picking it up and then gonna turn around and face the party. Kind of
Okay.
like from a distance and just kind of raise a hand with it, like kind of like this. If I shouted, would they be able to hear me?
Oh yeah, no, it
Yeah.
is quiet, even with the groans and moans of
Yeah.
many wounded.
Yes. Someone left us a gift.
All right, do you head back down with the seal?
Yeah, I'm heading back. I'm not going to
Okay.
open it yet. I'm not going to open it until I'm with the group.
As you hold in your hands, you look down. The wax seal on the piece of parchment is showing that of a bat with a dagger going straight down through the back of it.
The Wayne family?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
This was left behind by the Riddler.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm gonna go rejoin the group.
All right. At this time, I would say, Findamir, if you like to return with the wagon, the throngs of people in the streets made it quite difficult to wheel everyone's things through the streets, but you do make it back. And at this point, I'd say that everyone is kind of on their tail end of patching up as many people as possible. At this point, more people have kind of poured into the forum as far as guards to stretcher people away to a more advantageous position, or less, a place where you can better heal them as opposed to just on a grassy field. Um, if everyone likes to just go ahead and get their stuff back, you can go right ahead.
Sick.
All right.
Hot. I put my armor back on.
Should I
no,
have,
I'm not.
on the way back,
Not
can I have
immediately.
gathered information from the throngs of people that I passed by and be like, where are we headed? Where are you going? Just passively?
Make an investigation check with disadvantage.
It's a tough ass thing. It would be barely hearing it, All right. Investigation check. Oh, so close. With disadvantage to see if I get even worse. I did. Natural one. It was a 6 on the other one, so that's great.
There's just pure panic. There are, the guards are still under orders of martial law currently. They receive no other orders, and they are just taking weaponry to the local populace and basically just herding them like animals into the streets, down alleyways, and just kind of penning them and demanding obedience, which does not work. A lot of chaos, a lot of fear, a lot of pain, and there's just more and more news of what happened to the forum is just spreading. And with that comes more fear as you get closer to the forum, more outrage. There is now a growing distrust, as now there are rumors that there are vampires or undead littered amongst the populace unknowing. The guards are using their full martial might, and soldiers are using their full prowess to just basically, in an undiplomatic way, herd these people. It is impossible to get really any information.
All right. That's unfortunate. Well, I'll head back, put on my stuff on the way, and deliver it to the rest of my friends.
The second you touch your sword, you just could hear a thrum in your chest, as if you had echoed in a cave by yourself and felt the reverberations kind of wash through your body, and you feel more complete now.
Okay. I'll take a deep breath. Miss you.
You kind of just hear it echo back. Doesn't really answer back, but it's just an echo of what you say.
I'm gonna speak the words and ignite it and have it on me, ready to strike if I need to, and ride the horses back on the wagon.
There's no horses. Like, the guard is like taking one side of the wagon while you take the other wagon, and you're kind of just walking through, as other guards are more or less like patrolling with you to keep people away from you.
Brandishing a flaming sword, I think, might help. So
Definitely people do not come in arm's reach against the very armed individuals and yourself.
Don't fuck with me.
But everyone, you can all have your stuff again as Findamir approaches back into the center of the forum with Hazonia coming down from the bleachers holding that parcel. Yes.
I know we haven't got our level up yet for spells. Would I get Master's Flourish, which is a passive thing?
Yeah. I told everyone to level up. Did you not level up?
No. It's the
I am
fact that we have
mid-level
a
up.
long
I haven't
rest.
chose my spells yet because we haven't gone through the long rest. I've got an idea of what I'm going to do, but I also really want to reevaluate that because I didn't realize how spellcasting worked. So I'm probably going to have a moment before I do that.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, we can discuss that later.
But Master's Flourish would mean that I get to every single turn use a D6 versus my Bardic die to use a flourish with no cost
Okay.
every time.
Wow.
Okay.
Very good.
Fancy.
Cool.
You
Are
you
you
fancy
are,
bar.
are you
Also gets-
going? Are you now attacking the populace? Is that why you're telling me? It's like, haha.
Basically,
On
I'm
God.
gonna cut through
Moida.
them like the evil elf chaff that they are.
No one comes and tries to waylay you or try to steal from the wagon or attack you on the way there. There's a sufficient amount of guard around you, plus your flaming sword that deters enough people, as well as the massive martial law that is happening currently. So no threat of your stuff being taken in that regard.
Okay.
But yes, Finamir comes in with the wagon, starts emptying and giving back everyone their things. Hazonia steps down with the parchment, and at this point, you see from the other side of the forum, you see Anarian fully decked out in his armor and blades, as well as Jareda in human form, bear cloak with the bear head on the left shoulder, approach from behind as they're strolling through into the forum. You see Anarian immediately go up to you, Findamir, and just wrap his arms around you and pull you into a hug. Takes you and goes, I am so sorry for all of my actions. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. Glad you're back. It was weird having you gone.
Just nods solemnly and then looks over to you, Calliope, and just walks over and does not go in for the hug, but just places
Give him a nudge. Give him a nudge from behind for the hug. It'd be awkward now not to.
He does not understand what you're trying to do. With a natural 3 on his insight, he kind of just looks over and just kind of places an awkward hand on your shoulder, Calliope, and looks over and just, is this okay? Just back to you, Findamir.
I'll just give him a nod and just be like, I'm glad you're alive. And not actually trying to try us for treason.
Oh, heads up. We brought Mom as well.
He goes to say something in response to you, Calliope, and then when you say that, Findamir, he just whips around and then just goes and scans. And about 45 feet away, you see Isolde, who is just nature crafting some basic moss to kind of patch up some people before it's carried off in a stretcher. She just stands up, dusts herself off, and just looks over at Narian and just kind of just stares blankly.
It's the time of my life. What?
None never failed this way before.
Jesus Christ.
I'm
Are you gonna
sorry,
do-
you guys
you're gonna-
done?
You gonna do your own homie Arathor like that, bro? You trying to break up your dad with, and then wait, what? Now it's getting all weird. It's your
I'm
dad
kidding,
and then
I'm
my
kidding, I'm
dad.
Parent trap.
Anarian's mouth just falls open agape, just kind of staring at Isolde as Isolde just gives such like a diminutive wave before going off to help someone else, and Anarian just Okay. Looks over to you, Calliope. Why?
She was trapped in the Dawn Spring where there was a portal to the undead, and we saved her. And then she used the mythal that's in her possession that we found to cast daylight and found out where
What?
we have
What?
we have the mythal of the Avariel. It holds most of their race.
Jareda leans into Narian and says, "We need to Clissa to further examine it. Yes. We need someone private to speak of now. We need to speak privately. We need to discuss everything." And he just shakes his head again, kind of just grips your shoulder, Calliope, and just rubbing his eyes, just heads out to that private lounge where he spoke to you once before you all left on your journey. And
Is Hazonia like getting closer to the group?
Hazonia,
now?
you arrive here as
Okay.
he kind of just brushes past you and just kind of gives a mumble apology as he bumps into you and just continues onward.
Before you get too wrapped up into familial trouble, I think we need to take a look at this. Actually, first and foremost, Quintus, I want you to take a look at this. Do you feel any magical anything coming off of this? I hand him the letter.
Am I still in the process of treating people?
At this point, we'll say an hour and a half has passed, and you are from your hand all the way up to maybe your mid arm is just covered in just splatters of blood.
Maybe I don't give it to him then.
Your front is just covered in both grass stains and a manner of viscera as well. It is
Actually, wait. Something I've always wanted to do that I've never had the opportunity to do. Something I love, the trick that you've always done for me. Hold on. Can I prestidigitation him clean?
You absolutely can.
I've seen you guys do this so many times now. Hold on.
Oh,
I think I can
wonderful.
manage.
All of the viscera and blood starts to burn away like flash paper in this bright orange flame, and
like
you
a
are left
stab.
perfectly clean, with a slight smell of just like embers from a campfire.
I've been practicing.
Who with?
Me, myself, and I. Take a look at this.
This is self-taught. Yeah, but later. I would take the paper.
Does everyone kind of gather around? I imagine everyone's near the wagon, putting on their stuff or
Yes.
gathering. Okay.
Mostly what I want to draw your attention to is this a seal you recognize.
Do I recognize the seal?
He's the one with the best noodle here, so.
Make a history check.
What is my history bonus? Is the question.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Plus 10. So
That is
20.
a big number.
So 24.
24. And you do have, it's just Arcana check with Gorion. Gotcha. As you take a look at the letter, there's something about it that is old. You don't think you've ever seen this sigil before, but there's something about the style of it that is archaic. First of all, it's almost as if the wax imprint was not molded by a master craftsmanship. Is very blocky. The sword itself, the dagger itself, is non-stylized. It is just almost in these geometric patterns. And for a second there, you might feel like this is just a kind of a shoddy signet seal job, but the lines are too crisp. everything about it is almost down to a perfection. There's even bisecting lines that separates all of the geometric patterns of this bat-like creature in the dagger. And it has very old world vibes and sigils to it.
Hmm.
Whatever this sigil is from, it's not from this era. As Gorion looks over it and off, kind of just glances over, you just kind of hear him take an intake of breath as if he had cut himself on a thorn or something.
What is it? Do you recognize this?
He just looks at you silently, just shakes his head. Oh, you're more fucked than I thought you were.
In less eloquent terms, Gorion has said that we are in for more than we thought we were. I would, now that I have my book back, I would attempt to cast Detect Magic.
Okay. Ritual cast or just the instant ritual?
Instant ritual. I don't have time for this.
You go ahead and immediately the Detect Magic, everyone starts to glow as everyone is having their items back on them. And then the parchment itself gives off a faint glow as well. You're muted,
Everyone-
Keaton. I didn't hear you. I saw your lips move, though.
All right. No, I wasn't trying to say anything. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I would tell everyone, stand back. There might be some kind of arcane trap to do with it. It is magic, reading as magic.
Specifically, no, Identify does that. Never mind.
I would Detect Magic does tell me the school.
Does it? I thought only I thought Identify did that.
I'm pretty sure. Let me check.
Pretty sure Detect Magic does it too.
Okay.
But either way, I'm going to stand really close to everybody to make sure that they're going to be okay.
Yep. Faint aura that bears anything that bears magic, and you learn the school of magic, if any.
So you know it's evocation.
Oh. Oh. It is evocation, so it is. I'm going to cast Identify. Give me a moment, please. And I would start casting, ritually casting Identify.
Okay. Are you doing this right now, right here? Because Anarian did request everyone to come into the private area, which you now see Felda and Renela kind of limp over. Jareda is now kind of picking up Felda as well, kind of just sling her over her arm in a fireman's carry. You can hear Felda protesting quite a bit before Jareda smacks her on the ass and keeps going.
I would say, let's join the group, and while things are going on, I will attempt to figure this out before we break the seal on a potentially deadly can of worms.
So as we're kind of walking over, I just want to kind of like, during the commotion, I noticed 3 suspicious individuals, one of which left that note behind. They teleported out before we cleared everything, so God knows where they went.
I would conjure my quill and use it as the focus of drawing out a encode thought with your permission, so that we can, as we walk, so that we can get an image of the people.
Okay.
And all 3 of them left this note with the evocation on it.
One of them did. There was another perched up on the rooftops, if I remember correctly.
Interesting.
All 3 of them disapparated. I don't know where they've gone.
But there was whoever left this note was actually here. That's
Mhm.
Disapparating
Where
a
I
thing
found it.
in this?
What's that, Finn?
Is disapparating in D&D or is that Harry Potter?
It's Harry Potter, but you can use it as a term for just teleporting because there's so many ways to teleport.
I was
There's-
like, wait a
They
second.
warped. They
Yeah,
poofed.
there's so
they,
many forms of teleportation. Disapparate
it.
is works.
Oh,
I think
instant
disapparating is a good.
transmission.
Let's make it. Let's make it D&D.
I think disapparating sounds like a great term. You didn't go, and then Scotty beamed them up, so I think we're
Yeah.
pretty good.
All right.
I
As
must have
everyone
picked that up from Harry Potter because
So as everyone heads over into the private lounge, we'll go ahead and take a break because I am filled to bursting. So,
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, Skin.
If I can do, can I pull Gabe aside? Quintus aside and ask what this cloak is in the delay or no?
If he's willing to identify it, but that requires time.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, never mind.
Alrighty. See you on a bit. And we're back, folks.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm all right.
What are you eating?
Thing.
Fudge covered Oreos. Our friends that gave us the new mugs gave us
Oh, nice.
Oreos when we went to visit them.
Mm.
Mm.
Mhm.
So what do you think so far, Isaac?
That we just went through a lot of shit, and now things are getting revealed and things are happening.
Everything
We're
fucking
kind of in the midst of it,
sucks.
so like shit is going on. I'm curious to see what happens on every level. To be completely honest, because there's like 8 threads that we're like, oh, well, is this a finished piece? I'm afraid not.
Those were words you spoke.
This terrible pun. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, man.
I love that pun. I'm sorry. It's one of my favorites.
We need to leave.
I know, but also like, yeah. I don't know. We've spent a good amount of time trying to make sure people are okay. I'm curious to see where we go from here.
A lot of people were saved
Yeah,
due to your actions, but you also have just less to work with now.
Yeah. And we've spent a lot of time doing stuff. Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking up a lot of different shit because I am looking up a lot of shit.
You marked off your arcane shots, correct, Bradthew?
How many would you want me to use? I only have 2 of them. So should I have
Use-
used both of them?
Yeah.
Yep.
What's going on?
He was checking on my arcane shots.
Just making sure everyone has marked off what they used.
And
Okay.
I used my thing where I gained back some spell slots.
No, because you have not had a time to rest. Or is that an action? Is that
An
It's a
action.
bonus action, actually.
go for it? You can use that.
Nice.
Nice.
Job,
Do you have to use a channel divinity to use that, Lindsay?
I do.
Yeah, so you don't have that available.
Yes, thank you.
Also, you might have broke dad.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't he already kind of broken?
I don't know. It was a lot at once, but also like I wasn't sure what he knew and what he didn't know, and I was like, oh, here's just words, and he was like, oh God, and I was like, oh shit.
And I mean, like the Mythal and Mom were kind of like a package deal.
Yeah, like I didn't think of those as 2 separate things at the time, to be completely honest. I was like, oh, these things both fucking happened within like a day.
Yeah, I mean, like,
And like, yes, there are a lot, but I also wasn't like, oh, you know who I brought back. I was like, oh, like she's here, she has this is what's going on, and then pretty
I
reasonably.
think you're
that's
trying to
somewhat
parrot
shocking.
trap them.
I'm really not. I just thought it was funny when like the I've been feeling fine, and like she's like full pulling back her hair covered in blood and viscera and moss, just being like, I'm healing things, and like that's just what I'm imagining for some reason. And I was like, oh fuck, my head's just like seen too many movies. Seen way too many movies.
no, I'm getting. I mean, we've got twins. We've got a stepmom that doesn't like you.
Yes, but he might like her, and that's more important in this situation.
It really is.
I don't know. There's a lot of factors more than like I as much as 2 kids might want that. I don't really think Calliope cares with this current
Yeah.
situation. I think she'd rather both of them be happy separately. than like you must be together. Like I don't
I
think.
recently had a conversation with my mom about when I was a kid and how I always used to like ask her like
Mhm.
if her and my dad would get back together. And it's like, yeah, the only reason I asked that is because like media told me that that's something that I was supposed to want. She's like, yeah, all right. Your father and I were shit together. Yeah, that's very fair. And he's just awful in general, so
Well, that doesn't sound like the good. Sounds like the bad.
my dad's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Alrighty,
Who
everyone
keeps
ready?
farting into their mic?
I think it might be my mic doing that. I don't know why it's been doing that recently. Dude, I've been looking up so much shit on Theros. My mind's loving it.
I was trying to
Loving
say
it.
you were looking up so much porn.
I've done enough of that in my life that I think nothing will ever shock me in that regard at this
So
point.
are we all good to go? Just gonna. Alrighty.
I'm good.
This is on recording. So hi. For the
Mute
courtroom that is
yourselves.
currently asking this question, I did not expect this to be brought up, but also, I'm sorry.
For
I
that
don't know what I
one,
did.
for that one viewer who's going to stumble on this in the weird algorithm that is YouTube. Hi.
Hey, how's
anyway.
it going?
Why are you Weird Al Yankovic?
So, as you all start pouring into the private lounge that you all went into before, most of you kind of see this already as you kind of come into the area. Jareda and Felda are already sitting next to each other. Jareda kind of smiling, kind of poking and prodding Felda in the shoulder as Felda is just kind of scowling at her. You see Eldara, the Shatterkai captain that first led you into the Shadowfell, standing in the corner, leaning against it, kind of surveying the area and just simply waiting. You see Renela kind of awkwardly fiddling with his thumbs, sitting down into one of the lounge chair areas. And finally, you see Isolde and Narian. They are sitting about 4 feet apart, not occasionally looking at each other, and Narian very uncomfortable, kind of glancing up as Isolde is kind of scanning around nonchalantly, and occasionally looking over at Narian, smiling, and then just kind of looking at everyone else again. As Aaron sees all of you enter, he stands up and goes, "Excellent. We need to discuss everything that we know and figure out an attack plan. I've already summoned Teclissa for her release. She should be joining us shortly to investigate this." Looks back at Isolde and in her hand the mithril there. The mithril. First of all, I do not remember much, and it seems like much of the past week has been a blur for me. First of all, I have to ask, I see that you were successful in obtaining the drow. I do not remember that.
You've been under control for some time then. That was what
Was
that
that
a-
prior to Tell Tempa?
that was after Tel Tempa.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Fendemir?
What was the last thing that you remember?
I think the last thing I remember was going to a private meeting with Orlane to discuss options to defend the city with Lyra.
With us. What was the last thing you remember? with us.
Sending you off to tell Tempa in the Grove, I believe.
And how many days after that did you have this private meeting?
I think it was the day you left.
I had a private meeting with Orlane pretty much the night we left. Huh.
What
He
was
tried to
Lyra
do
there?
something to you.
No, he just asked a bunch of odd questions. Tried to implicate most of us in doing terrible things, and I just feigned ignorance.
Mm.
It seems like you've been under control for some time. We did find some of the Dry Blade Singers, and we found what happened to the Avariel. Most of them seem to be trapped in that fair mythal. They were under control from some hags. We also found who is the cause of all of this.
Jareda stands
undead.
up. Jareda stands up and says, "And who is responsible?"
It's a bit of a long shot, but I don't suppose any of you recognize the name Karazastan.
All of them look to each other and just shake their head.
She is a former member of the Order of the Scribes of the Wizards of Candlekeep.
Felda sits forward, groans, and says, "And what does a human want with besetting all of Evermeet with undead?"
It is not simply just the Evermeet. It's also the material plane. These towers, these pillars, these gates are also occurring there.
To what end?
Tomorrow, or depending on how the time differentiations affect it, is spring equinox. I don't know if any of you know what that means necessarily when it comes to the planal relations.
Anarian speaks up and says, "We live in the Evermeet. We know the significance."
We have reason to believe that these pillars are similar to focuses. They communicate with each other, and we believe that they might be attempting to do something across the plains.
Renela speaks up and says, "But to what end?"
It's been a couple weeks. Am I forgetting something?
I mean, you're describing what is happening, but the why and the how is not there.
When it comes to the character that is Karazastan, we know that her entire family was wiped out at some point, and she became very corrupted, spiteful, dark. She has some kind of reasoning, and the hags that we were able to get information out of said that she was doing it for someone. We do not know who or why.
Everyone in the room kind of looks at each other as Eldara just blankly stares into the group, not really focusing on anybody.
Do I still have the Dragonborn's journal?
That would be in your stuff if you never got rid of it.
Can I take that out of my? Would assume it's in my bag of holding somewhere.
Sure.
And
don't assume. You tell me. It's your
in
shit.
my bag of holding somewhere. I would sift through my bag of holding and pull out the journal and start sifting through it to see if I can find anything that might
relate to, even if it's just a K and an S somewhere in the book.
Make an investigation check, and this is going to take a couple minutes for you to do. So,
While the others are talking.
yeah. As you're all talking, or as you step aside and start flipping through a book, Anarian perks up and goes, "So, in that time, has there been any mobilization of the Shadakai, Eldara, or mobilization of the Drow that arrived? Wait, where's does the Drow even have a representative to speak of, or as that is said, you hear footsteps as Declissa from the stairs leading up comes walking down with Deaphine, the Drow priestess, in tow. Both walk down the stairs, and Deaphine will go, "Indeed, there is. And no, the Drow have not been mobilized, but we have been corralled out of the city gates. I assume that will be corrected soon." Narian nods, clears his throat, and looks over to Declissa and go, "Declissa, this Mythal, do you know anything of it?" Declissa, a little uncertain. She looks a little haggard, as if she hadn't eaten a few days. Hair is mussed, clothes disheveled, clean. But she just walks over to Isolde, quirks a head, shakes, takes the Mythal. Isolde kind of nods and starts to gaze at it. Immediately, her eyes start clouding over white. And she just stands there in the middle of the room, silent for a moment. Any of you do anything?
Is my detect magic still going?
It's the last 10 minutes, right?
I believe so. Let me check.
It'd be up by now.
No, my detect magic that I instacast. Has 10 minutes already passed, is what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying, yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna go over to oh god, I have her name up. Where is her name? Love it. I love it. It's great. The Drow, what?
Deaphine?
Deaphine.
Yeah.
Wait, why is this? I have this name written here. Why? Okay. I'm gonna go over to Deaphine and quietly, as she's doing that, just whisper, I'd like to apologize. I thought we were putting in trusted hands, and it seems like they were corrupted. I know it's not the best example of what we should be, what they should be. It's not what you were promised.
We knew it was going to be an uphill battle for acceptance and peace. This is just the first step. The fact that no one is recoiling from us as I walk down the steps is a good gesture. As a couple minutes pass, at that time you can finish going through the journal. What'd you roll for investigation, Quintus?
7. 27.
Oh, 27. Okay. You are scanning through the journal. There's really no mention of Karazastan in name or abbreviations, even toward the back end of the journal, where it's just chaotic ramblings and chicken scratch and crude, insane drawings. However, you do make a connection of the vampire lord being bent to the will of another.
Ooh.
Could be her, could be someone else.
According to this journal, which was found in the tomb of the dragonborn vampire that we fought in Teltempa, the vampire lord that is controlling the others is being bent to the will of another, which one could assume is Karazastin, but it could be very well be another as well. We just know that Karazastin is the cause of the pillars.
During this time, Zafari, where are you located currently?
I'm sitting somewhere in this room.
Okay. A door next to you opens rapidly, and you recognize Tyrion enter into the room in a rush, breathing heavily as he closes the door behind him and says, What happened? I just received word about what's." He kind of looks over at the room filled with people and just says, "Am I late?"
Just a little.
Right. He just kind of just clears his throat and just sits down, looks over to you, Findemir, and just kind of just gives the what's happened.
I'll go sit next to him and kind of fill him in on the events prior.
Okay. You see his face go more and more shocked and eyes wide as you start relaying the information that happened. In the meantime, Teclissa finally kicks back, eyes returning to normal as she stumbles forward. Isol rushes to her side and kind of holds her aloft before she can collapse. As she gently removes the mithril from Teclissa's hands and just pats her on the shoulder and says, "It's a lot, I know. Take it easy there." And just kind of gently move Teclissa over to the seat that Isolde was sitting at.
Is she close to me?
Yes.
Just kind of leaning. Did it have you answer riddles too?
I was... Nothing prepares you for that. Oh, gosh. So many people. She looks to everyone in the room and says, "I don't have an easy answer for what is needed, but that mithril is powerful and could help us immensely. However, in order to free the Avariel, we would have to make the ultimate sacrifice. We would have to destroy the mithril. This is something I can do. I just never thought I'd be using this knowledge in this way." Narian just looks over to everyone. I already know what my vote is, but I believe the saviors of the mithril should have some sort of say in this, I believe. Eldar perks up at that and just looks over at the rest of you. Jareda stands up and says, "With all due respect, I don't believe... At the very least, Calliope and Findemir should have a say, but the others, they're not of the Evermeet. They're not Elven. They should not have a say over such a legendary object."
Actually, Hazonia?
Isonia is plain touched, but she is actually of elven blood.
You see Jareda kind of look at you, shocked, Hazonia, and bow apologetically to you.
It tried to elf wash her.
It did. I don't have the scars anymore, but it tried to revert me to a pure state. It claimed it was trying to protect me and that I was in danger. And I think that has something to do with my infernal background.
I see.
I think they have spent too much to not get a say in what happens with it. We've traveled to places and made deals with things that aren't normal or natural. They've handed you the lives of thousands of people. And if you wasted those and killed everyone inside or left them in there to use it for other means, that blood would be partially on their hands for delivering it to you. So I think they have part of a say, at the very least.
Be no
Daphne,
better than those hags.
Daphne perks up and says, I, for one, am not fully understanding the situation. But if I am to properly ascertain what you're all trying to say, we're talking to the destruction of a magical object for the sake of a race of people, am I correct?
I believe that is what's being put out.
Then I
Believe
believe the
they-
answer is obvious.
I believe the 8 that are not within the mythal would like to see their friends, family, loved ones again. And not be essentially the last of their kind
I think
when their family is so close.
I think that it goes without saying that we should release them, but I am just one vote here.
And Arian says, I vote we release them. It seems the obvious right choice. You
I
see
also vote we release them.
Renela perks up and goes, I don't know. Perhaps we wait and use the mythal as much as we can before releasing them, maybe?
We might be sacrificing the lives that are in it, Renela.
The
Do you
location
understand
that
that?
we found this, the group of horrific crones were devouring the souls inside of it, sustaining themselves off of what was inside of this mythal. Who's to say you use the mythal as some sort of defense mechanism? It could use the souls in a similar way.
You kind of see Renela deflate, but not change his answer.
And what would we be waiting for exactly? Are we waiting for Winter Festival invitation? The brink of the Evermeet destruction? We're practically there. I think waiting is done.
He just stands against, I don't know. But all I know is that seeing this, and he gestures over to the mythal, this is like seeing the face of God. I can't.
No, it's not. Right, would
Well,
you
let-
sacrifice all of the people, the elves in the Evermeet, right now? Just, 25% of them for a partial possibility of defense?
Naren steps up behind you, Calliope, and just places a gentle hand on your shoulder and goes, he cast his vote. We are not trying to convince, and I do not think that he's being malicious.
I understand.
Well, say the rest of you. I would also like the vote of the Drow representative, as you are, and your people now, as of right now. He kind of just stops for a moment, pauses, as a realization hits him, shakes his head, and looks up and says, as immediate right now, you and all of the Illustrian Drows here are permanent and welcome residents of Evermeet. You deserve a vote. Miss Daphne is my name. deity. I take it you've already voiced your opinion? Yes, we must release them. It is the right thing to do. Tyrion, what say you? I'm with you, Father. My opinion is regardless of yours. Anarian pauses at that, but continues on. And Jareda looks over at the rest of them, looks back at Anarian, says, I will follow your lead on this, whether I disagree or not. I agree that we free them. Anarian nods, looks over to Isolde. Isolde, you seem to have an ability to speak with the mythal, and as legends tell, it is somewhat able to communicate with us. What say you? Isolde looks back at Anarian, looks back at the mythal in her hands, and says, I cannot make a choice. I'm sorry. Anarian doesn't press, looks over to Fendemir and says, and what do you think would be what we should do with this? Use the mythal or free the people?
Free the people. Of course.
Looks over at Quintus. It feels odd asking a human about an elven artifact of such power, but what is your opinion on this? Your vote.
The Avariel have lost enough. They've lost hundreds of years. And due to my own hand, some of them have lost the ultimate price. I'm not one who could take anything more from them. I don't have the right.
He nods and looks over at Hisonia. And I believe you have already made your opinion known.
Let them out. I've been inside that thing. They deserve freedom.
You see him look over to Eldara and look over at Felda, and both of them just shake their head in agreement to what you say, Hisonia. Very well. And how many did you say was in there? Isolde speaks up. About 51,134.
That's what I was going to say.
More than 3.
Less than 1 million. Remember.
A lot. A lot.
Teclissa then nods and says, it will take some time to release everyone. Clearly there is not really enough room right now to release everyone at once, but it can be done, drawing on the life force of the mythal itself. Bit by bit, we can deploy what we need right now, and then civilians after. But the mythal will be dormant and
They
dying.
might need medical attention, depending.
We'll make sure to
Not
give it
quite
as much as
sure.
we can. You see Isolde look around, nod, kind of whisper into the mythal, pause, and a couple tears roll down her eyes as she nods. And then just very sadly gives it over to Teclissa.
I'm going to go sit next to Isolde and kind of rest a hand around her back. Kind of.
kind of leans her head onto yours. All right. The forum is empty now. I guess we should do what we can now. And Eclissa goes ahead and takes the mythal and looks back and says to everyone, is there anything more we should discuss or do before we release said individuals?
I
And
believe- sorry,
Aaron looks
continue.
to everyone and says, we should discuss tactics and plans on what we should be doing next.
And the people outside.
Venarian kind of looks over at you, Findamir, and goes, what do you mean?
The people are being rallied outside. There's panic widespread.
Which will take time to
I-
quell in a
Yes.
peaceful way. But right now, it seems like Evermeet itself and the existence of is under threat. And we must figure out what our next plan is.
What if we can rally them, prevent as much damage as possible? If they can help in any way they can, we use them. Shoring up defenses, healing people, moving supplies with the proper leadership from you, from us. We can use them as a source to help everyone. They aren't just to sit there like chattel waiting for their fate to fall on them.
Findamir, people here, not most of the people here are artisans, farmers. You were, from what I've been gathering from your human wizard here, we have less than a day before something happens. It's not about mobilizing the populace. It's about what we know and what we can surgically strike at. Mobilize the defenses of who we have. The Drow Blade Singers, where to deploy them. The Avariel, how to best way to free them and immediately mobilize them if they're even able to. And more importantly, where the rest of you and your party are going to next.
I agree with everything you're saying, but this is a resource. Every hand helping makes a difference. If they're barricading the walls, if they're helping move injured, every bit of that is important. It's a guiding hand. I think it should be discussed.
Calliope, I think you were trying to say something?
I think that is something that will come through the day itself. That's something that will happen. In general, I think that people should be rallied to do what they can. But that's not the question of right now. Right now, we're trying to figure out what we can do separately and where we can send the people that we have readily available, not the ones we have to get ready just yet. Send things out so that we can get everyone else ready. Or if we have to devote people to that, send people there. We're trying to, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, trying to figure out what our next steps are involving everything. And while that is partially a step, we need more. We need a plan for everything, for everyone.
Just like I said to an Aryan, I agree with all of those steps. Yes, I want to plan for the immediate future, for the surgical strike, for our immediate response. But this is something we haven't discussed, and I think should be discussed.
It is something that does need to be discussed now that all parties are talking. However, I think that for the purpose of this meeting, we need to discuss what all of you know and what is the next step for the elites. Right now, we have a drow refugee encampment which is being corralled and not being utilized to push back the undead. We have Shadakai patrolling up and down through the forests of Evermeet, disorganized and not talking to the head. I
The
think
unifying party, I think, is what we need.
correct. I think we need to unify.
welcome them into the city. We need to gather our forces, unite under one banner. And that can be done as we move forward as well. You all have my undying support. Whatever decision you make, I trust. I can, with the representative of the Drow, I can try to meet the Shatterkai.
No, you and everyone else, as I loathe to ask of you, you all need to hunt down this threat. Not particularly because you are powerful, for you are, but simply you're really the only ones that we can trust. And he looks around the room at everyone, and those with a passive insight of 20 or higher sense an immediate shift. The events in the forum have, and you've sensed this throughout the streets, Vindemir, shaken many to the core. And a bigger realization hits as Anarian voices it to you, Vindemir. We don't know how many other vampire spawn, or even true vampires, are left out there. Mobilizing people is not going to be as simple as just garnering their support or behind a rallying cry. It would be pointless until we know for sure that the enemy is snuffed out. And besides, they're beyond scared, and because of Orlane, trust in the government is not exactly at its strongest. It will take time to repair.
We don't have time. It's faith needs to be instilled, sureties garnered. There needs to be a quelling of the ranks, essentially. Spells, magical reassurance, testing. It's possible.
There's a lot of angles to attack from, certainly, but it takes precision, and it does take time. And unfortunately, we do not have that time, so we have to do what we can. So, he looks over to Deophine.
What if we could enlist the help of the Shadakai? They are bent on destroying the undead. Is that not a pretty reliable...
Tyrion kind of puts a hand on your shoulder, Finmir, and goes, "Let Father talk. He's got this." And Arian nods to you, Findemir, and says, "Yes, that is a good idea. Eldara, are your people able to accurately root out undead?" Eldara steps forward, says, "Yes, we are able to do so. We have precise methods, although the people may not be acquiescent of such tactics. We would need the support of your military to do so." Anarian nods grimly. If we're moving the Shadakai off the roads to root out Ruith, we weaken our trade routes. Which would cut us off from the grove once more. Renela looks over at everyone, goes, I think we have most of the clergy and chosen from the grove. If we have to momentarily lose connection to the grove, so be it. If it means that we're able to rapidly root out the undeath cancer. And Aaron grimly nods again and goes, that unfortunately martial law will still have to maintain. The Shadowkai will be led with our military force, and whether the people agree with it or not, will be forced to acquiesce to the Shadowkai's methods. Dorada just grimaces, just shakes her head but says nothing. Felda just kind of closes her eyes and just shakes her head as well. As for the drow, Deafine just nods. How soon can you immobilize your blade singers and fighting infantry? We do not have many blade singers, but rank 20 will be able to wipe out the harbor, give safe passage to, I believe, the naval officer. She looks over to Tyrion. Yes, we'd be able to finally dock, resupply. Very well. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and bring the drow what we can into the refugee camp, as well as set proper fortifications around their camp as well to annex them into the city and protect them as best we can. Now, for the rest of you, he nods to the group. Where do you plan on going? What is your next step?
From what I can tell, there are still some vampire lords popping about.
We have heard same reports. Nimlith. Something has happened to Nimlith. The city in the most northern part of Evermeet. It is gone. And that was where we last had seen a report of a vampire convorting with dark magics.
Now, just so I'm clear, because things seem to be very up in the air these days, when you say gone, as in it fell or it's physically gone?
As in, a large pillar has replaced it.
Well, last time Zafari and I went into a pillar, we were repelled by a cloud of decaying mist. We were not as powerful back then. Might be worth it to investigate another.
He nods. Also, if your aim is to hunt down the vampire leaders, well, Luthor Spa, we still have no contact with the capital city, and reports of roving bands of wolves and bipedal wolves as well as swells of undead have been laying siege to the city, led by a blue-skinned woman taller than even Tereda.
Blue-skinned.
Yeah. And we ran into that mother in the forest.
Hmm.
So our options appear to be, if we're taking out the vampires, one of two different cities, one of them the capital, one of them the farthest place, where it seems like there was the first origin of vampire on the Evermeet. Or the origin of vampire within this experience. Or there's, if possible, Karazastan. But I don't know how we would even achieve that.
Well, we still have another hint that we haven't
Yes,
engaged with yet.
this letter was left by, and I would take the thought strand that I took out of Hazonia's head and use it to try and see.
All right. As you peer in, you are immediately pulled into Hazonia's point of vision. You can see just from her perspective the memory of just kind of watching from afar. You can see the two specks of individuals, barely able to make out just details of the individuals, but just they're hundreds of feet away. And you see immediately the thought as you see Hazonia's vision from first person scan up into the brambled branches of the ceiling of the forum of a woman so very far away, 300 feet away, just disappear. You're barely able to make out any details of this woman.
What color was her hair?
From that distance, probably a deep black.
What color was Kara's hair when I saw the image of her?
Black, but yeah, black.
In this thought strand, or is everyone touching this? Is one person touching this? Would it,
I would offer it once I come out of the memory.
yeah, if we're looking into this area looking for someone, are we able to try and see if we can make out any more details from thing like Hazonia had?
You're limited by Hazonia's vision.
Right.
And she is limited by her vision. I mean, she has the eyesight of a trained military elite, but she still has a standard eyesight.
Mhm.
You making out details of anyone 300 feet away is not immensely possible.
I guess that's not what my question is. My question is based on the description that we got from the end of the session last time. We got a description of the vampire looking dude and the halfling gnome, and then the person who we suspect is Karazastan, the woman who looked more haggard with deep circles and hair. Are we getting the same details, or are we having to roll a perception check to find?
You're getting the same details because this is all from her perspective.
Right. And that's all I was asking.
Yeah.
Is if when we're looking at, are we like, oh, it's like me looking across a cliff versus like someone else, and I'm like, I'm not seeing the same shit because I don't pay attention the same way. But if it's directly, then we're all seeing the same thing. Then never mind. Nothing I'm saying is relevant. Then that's what I was trying to figure out.
Okay. So I would pass to Calliope, and then I would say it was left by 3 individuals. One seems to be a gnome or halfling in stature. One of them is a masculine body, and another is a woman, but a female, feminine body. I have yet to open this letter as it is emitting a aura of evocation magic, which makes me think it might be dangerous.
Everyone immediately steps away from you, Quintus.
I suppose I'll go outside and open it with the mage hand.
All right.
I will join him in case he needs to make a save.
Okay.
I'll watch.
So will I.
I will make sure that I'm close enough that everybody can get my aura if need be.
I'm more than 10 feet away from you guys. I'm fucking 20, 30 feet away. I'm not about to get caught in this explosion if it's an explosion.
Finnemere,
I'm going to be ready
follow?
to heal you.
I'll be staying where I am.
Okay. All right. So the 4 of you exit out to open the letter. As you all leave, Anarian, nods and looks over to everyone. Go. Right. Well, we need to speak to any heads of leaders of the Avario. So, Declisa, if you could summon them first, we need to discuss what is happening. It's going to be a long night. Declisa nods and starts to exit as well. Looks over to Aldara. Bring out your inquisitors, and I'll put you in touch with the military to properly utilize your forces. You will have full reign and full authority. Aldara nods as she leaves. Looks over to Deafine. I will get in touch with you, to discuss plans with the Blade Singers and any of your martial individuals. Is there any arcane advisors of which we can use? Like, my advisor, Alika Rinrin, would be most useful in being able to help with any sort of divination or quelling of riots. He nods. Very well. I will be with you shortly and meet you at the far end of the forum when I'm ready. Tyrion, head back to the fleet. Be prepared to bring in the ships. Tyrion nods. Goes ahead and just takes a hand on your back, Vindemir, and kind of pats you on the back in a soldiery way of see you on the other side, and leaves the room as well. Jareda, if you could, you know the woods better than anyone. I need you on patrols. It's the best way I can think of helping patch the holes of the now less than ideal strength on the roads. Jareda nods and leaves. Felda goes to follow Jareda, and Anarian says, "No, Felda, I need you with me. Please." Felda stops, looks over. "I'm much more useful out. No. I need you on the walls. Please." Felda just does an intake of air, cracks her back, and just nods, kind of stays near Anarian. Isold. Isold just kind of looks over as the Mythal is being taken out into the open forum. I'm not quite sure what to we need the clergy to have assistance in more druidic magic. Your powers seem to be more adhered toward fighting the undead, as well as perhaps your powers will be able to help alleviate some of the weather that we're having, in clearing the air, so to speak. Would you be able to assist? Isolde nods and says, "I can do my very best. It's possible. Just may take me some time." Right. If you need lodgings, my home, Tyrion, can show you where, and you'll have a safe place to concentrate and recuperate from your journeys. Isol just nods. Very well. Right. Looks over to you, Findemir, and says, "What is it, Findemir? Did you want to say something else?"
I didn't say anything.
Well, you stuck behind while your friends left. I figured you wanted to say something.
Opening something. I needed a moment. This is all taxing. You being changed, sister being imprisoned. Orlane is still a variable.
Yes. I believe we need to question what he knows. How much of a victim was he?
It's a very good question. I thought it was him, not Lyra. I've known Lyra my whole life, and didn't expect that from her.
He walks over to you and kind of just takes both his hands and grips your shoulders and pulls you in, just says, listen, whatever Lyra was, however she became that way, that wasn't Lyra in the forum.
It's. I don't. I feel shocked. I didn't see it. It's a.
What I'm
Makes
saying
me
is,
question me, not her.
what I'm saying is, striking her down, you didn't. She's been dead for a long time, if that, depending on whenever she was turned. That wasn't Lyra.
Yes.
I speak from experience. Do not dwell on that. Trust me when I say, whatever that thing was down there, you didn't know whatever that undead abomination was.
Oh, thank you. Stay safe and keep Mother and the rest of the family safe.
He nods. I'm proud of you, Findemir.
Thank you.
Please come back. We have a lot to do. Not only for the people, but you and I need to do a lot more talking.
You trying to persuade me not to come back? Jeez.
Well, if that was to persuade you, I was hopefully maybe figuring out a way to also speak to your sister. So
That is important. I guess I'll come back for that. Gosh.
much appreciated.
Keep her safe if I can. Willful one that she is. Like somebody else I know. Well, time for me to go.
Grabs the back of your head, just places his forehead against yours for a moment. Be safe. Corlon got you.
Corlon guide you. I'll touch his chest. Little loving sign. And give him a bardic inspiration for whatever else he does next. Head out.
Alrighty.
See my friends.
All right. As all that is happening, it takes a lot of minutes down there for the delegation of tasks and whatnot, all of which Vindemir has knowledge of. What are you guys doing in the meantime? There is a piece of parchment on the grass, and all of you about 10 feet away. What are all of you doing?
Like he's disarming a bomb.
I'm actually 25 feet away because I'm using Mage Hand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to use Mage Hand to crack the wax seal.
Okay. So Mage Hand. So
Can
you
I
only
start
have
10?
one. You only have one hand, and cracking the wax seal of a parchment, I would say, it has a bit more finesse than what Mage Hand can do, just because Arcane Trickster Mage Hand exists, and that has a little bit more finesse to be able to do that. So,
Calliope,
have you ever tried
double
to
team it.
crack open a with one hand? Just try to like.
I'll spend a sorcery,
I was thinking,
I'll
like-
spend a sorcery point to distance cast Mage Hand and use it to hold it from a distance. I'm
on.
60 feet away.
I'm gonna try now. I have my ballot that I haven't submitted
Yeah,
yet.
no, I'm 35 feet away, and I'm just gonna just use it to essentially hold the other side,
All
so
right.
he has an easier time.
both of you make Thank you.
He's doing
Brad.
it. He's doing it. The mad lad. This is a
Uh,
horrible.
You got to
idea.
use the wet rag technique and just it just explodes.
I did.
so I'm gonna need you to both make sleight of hand checks with disadvantage to try and get this open with double mage hand. Oh my god.
Can I?
I'm gonna spend a sorcery point to
Can I sub-
re-roll.
Can I substitute my spellcasting bonus
Substitute your spellcasting bonus.
Instead
rather
of
than
instead
since
of
it's since
dexterity.
I'm casting, like it's not really my manual dexterity.
Because they're mage hand is mimicking your hands. So
Okay, so sleight of hand.
Wait, isn't what you're doing mentally? 'Cause you're not like I'm not like
I mean,
doing the hand motion and then
I've
it's
always
doing the hand
I've always
motion.
imagined it mental, but yeah, I guess so. But I was just I'm gonna just make the sleight of hand.
Yeah, that
Make-
no, I'm down with it being sleight of hand. I was trying to clarify because
Yeah.
I don't
Mm.
think of my hands doing the motion as I do that. I think of it as a mental thing, but I still think it should be dexterity. That's still not good. Okay. Better than the last one. That's gonna be a 13 for me.
So
13.
with my bonus of +3, that's 4.
Okay. So both of you are just pulling and tugging at this piece of parchment.
I'm just gonna.
You are not in tandem with each other. You're pretty sure that you should have shredded it by now, but it just looks more crumpled than anything.
For fuck's
I'm just
sake,
gonna
can we
put my hand on Quintus's shoulder and just be like, I'm just gonna walk over to it.
Okay. Do you pick it up, Safari?
I'm gonna pick it up.
Do you open it?
I will open it away from my friends.
All of you see Safari open the envelope. Do you open and read it?
I will
They're a
open.
shining greenish, whitish light. Is there
Like
I-
opening the briefcase
what's
in
the
Pulp
color we're
Fiction.
seeing? Yeah,
I will
That's a great
read
one. I love
it.
that.
I will read it as well.
Repo Man too.
You read, Dear Sanguine Guard,
It's addressed to us, so
Have we
this
told
is
people
not
that
mail
name?
fraud. No.
you have all shown cunning, strength, and power in all of your endeavors in your continuing quest to save the Evermeet. You are hereby invited to my manor, formerly known as the Summer Palace, to attend a lovely meal to discuss any future cooperation between myself and yourselves.
I'm just gonna read that out loud.
I was waiting. That's why I paused. Was to
Yeah, I'm just narrating letter to everyone.
Is this in common, by the way?
This is in well, you don't see this, Quintus, but Safari, you see this in beautifully calligraphied what seems to be a reddish ink.
Do I assume that it is blood?
You can assume all you want. It's a matter of whether or not it is or not. Who knows?
The calligraphy is artful. Ink is red. It might be blood.
At your earliest convenience, and in parentheses it says, and I do mean earliest, as of time is the essence. Please arrive quickly and we can discuss. Signed, your servant, Korik Zafarin.
Zafarin?
Korik Zafarin.
Okay.
Zapharan. Korik as in Corick. And immediately after you read the last sentence, you see the red ink start to flare almost a bright orange, and the entire letter bursts into flames. The ash floats in the air and then pelts into the ground in almost like a dagger-like position in front of your feet.
Counterspell. Sorry, what?
It,
Well, that
fi-
just seemed dramatic.
it forms a pattern.
Did
Is it a
you?
map?
Did Zafari read it out loud?
I
Sorry.
did.
Okay. Just make sure. I was like, okay. So we have, at least if Quintus heard it,
Yep.
we know what it said.
Do you? Yeah. So there is a Zafari about 25 feet away.
Just screaming this fucking letter.
So you see Safari about 25 feet away, and you see it burst into fire, have a cloud of ash hang in the air, and then that ash pelt into the grass and ground.
What's the
Is it a
symbol?
map?
You look down, make an Arcana check. Gabe already knows.
It's draconic for Teclis is a bit.
15.
Oh,
15. You recognize a teleportation circle, though. You
Yeah.
do not know how to decipher its runes.
question.
I think I know where we're going.
Hold on, just really quickly. Target question. The summer
Yes.
court. Have I been there?
Not the summer court, the summer palace.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, summer
I don't know if
palace
this-
is different.
Okay. I was gonna say, I was like, damn, they took over the fucking summer court. Fuck this. I was about to be very, very, very concerned.
No, the summer palace is the empress's palace, or once was when there was an empress.
Okay. Well,
So, do all of you approach the ferry?
You might want to inform somebody that we're going to the summer palace.
Hey, Fiend.
At this point, Findamir, you approach out from the lounge as everyone is now crowded around this ashen symbol.
yeah, if we could get
s-
Daphne, that'd be great.
Summer Palace. Well, I've never been there, I assume, because it is, yeah. Wow, that'll be an event. Calliope, that's where the leader of the elves goes during the summer. Hence it being the Summer Palace.
Or is the council not the leader of the elves?
Findamir, you would know that the council is the leader of the elves. The summer palace used to be the home of the empress when there was an empress, but there has not been an empress in several hundred years.
It was Moonbeam, I think was the last one, right?
Yeah.
It was previously the residence of I can't remember her first name, the Empress Moonbeam. And she resided there during the summers, but the council uses it however they see fit, I guess.
So it's like the old castle of the empress.
It's an archaic, but it's a how do I say it properly? Relic I don't think has the ceremonial value. It is a monument to older times. It's a important monument. Oh yes,
Okay.
palace.
Well,
Okay. I genuinely, for a hot
Why are
second,
we going there?
You've been
we've
formally
been
invited.
invited by a
By-
Torth Zaffron.
Do I know who that is?
That name means nothing to you.
Right. Does anybody know who the fuck that is?
Was the name ever mentioned in the journal?
It was not.
Can I see this letter? Is there a seal? Is there a...
Yeah,
Oh,
Just
that's
kind
the
of
dust.
point at the
You're-
dirt.
That's the
Yeah, it's
dust
like-
right there.
Yeah, so yeah, you're looking at it.
Yeah. We could call your father and the rest of the council that we just spoke with, and including Daphne and
Well, I think a good person to ask could be our imaginary friend. or more precisely, your imaginary friend.
He's still manifested at this point, isn't he?
He comes and goes as he wishes because he is not technically bound to you. So he's
Okay.
been gone for a little bit.
Okay.
Just whatever the fuck he wants.
All right. Well, we could summon my father back, but I do think that honestly, I don't think he would know. I just don't. This seems a personal invitation. They know about us. They're inviting us to a place that they shouldn't have access to. It's all unusual, and I imagine that this meeting is exactly how it's meant to be. Us off guard.
Has Daphne already left?
Daphne is waiting on the far side of the forum near the exit, and Teclissa is in the center of the forum as Anarian is kind of walking out of the lounge area with Felda as they are walking over to Teclissa, where Teclissa has the mythal. Looks like they are about to release some people.
I would try to as suavely walk over to Daphne as I can.
I want to go as well, by the way.
Okay. You
Not like
you
seductively. Not
you saunter over to Daphne.
Do do do.
Um.
Do do do. It's the time.
My God.
Season.
What do you Daphne kind of quirks an eyebrow at you, Quintus, as you kind of walk over to her.
I know your resources are probably limited at the moment, but I see it seems as if we are about to depart on the next leg of our journey. Would you happen to be able to do that sleep thing today still?
Oh, I'm afraid I cannot. I've been doing it to basically prepare my people for the worst.
Very well. Yes, I assume that might be an option. How are you?
You know, I've better than I thought. You know, it's been quite turbulent, but otherwise not as violent being corralled in the outskirts of Ruith as I thought. So, worst outcomes have not happened. Best outcomes have not happened either, but so. How are you?
Ask me after this is over.
I pray for your safe journey then. Illustrate guide you on the moonlit path.
And Salune on yours.
She nods.
And I awkwardly make my way back.
I'm because I'm with. They said I came with him. I'm gonna turn just and say, I don't. You've been chosen for, I believe, longer than I have with illustrating. Considering I haven't lived that long.
Yes. What is the question?
My own foolishness caused me to break an item that was a gift from Coralon, a gift from the Seldarine. I lift up the broken Seldarine stone. Just say, I don't know if there's a way to fix such an item, but I know it has some significance.
I would discuss with who you received this item then. I don't really know how much I can help you with such an artifact I have never laid eyes on.
Right. Sorry. Good luck.
You as well.
And I'll give her a little sign of the Seldarine. Yep. Back to them, the party.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing?
I still think we should call somebody just to let them know where the fuck we're going.
Didn't we promise we would update Finn Calliope's dad about our next steps?
We did.
Yep. Maybe do that.
And I'm going to while Quinn and Calliope are over there. There any like guards or anything nearby?
There are a couple postings of guards now near the forum entrances, but they're more or less, you feel like they're for just because much of the council is there or what's left of it.
Okay, I'm gonna ask whoever if they know where Pashion and my brother are.
Okay. You approach a guard near the veering away from the group and toward the eastern exit. The guards who are speaking to each other in hushed tones see you approach and immediately go rigid and go back into a military at attention stance.
At ease?
They do not at ease.
You don't have to do that.
How may we assist you, ma'am?
I was just wondering if you knew where Pashion and my brother Bren were, perhaps.
They both look at each other, and the other one says, "I'm sorry, my lady, I do not know. Would you like us to request that information?"
Sure. Yes, I would need to speak with my brother quickly.
Where should we tell them to meet you?
Here.
They nod as one of the guards exits and leaves.
I was gonna turn around and be like, "Oh, I do not like that," and I'm just gonna walk away.
Okay.
But is there any music going? I don't know if I can hear it.
There is music.
Yeah,
I've never shared it.
Oh,
I was gonna
didn't
say,
even
it's
think
like,
about
yeah,
it.
Why
This
do
hasn't-
none of you ever say anything when I forget that shit?
I didn't think about
I
it.
didn't notice
I
it for a
didn't
while, and then I
notice
was like,
really either.
something's weird about this scene. Did he turn something off? And I was like, maybe the music just never hit me. Okay.
Oh, our viewers are going to be so confused.
Okay. I don't know why that just made me super anxious. I was like, something's making me feel super weird. And it could be because there's a normal ambience, and now it's like.
So anyway,
is Renela around, or did Renela leave?
Renela is with Anarian currently.
So not around.
I
Anarian
mean,
left, right?
No, Anarian's in the middle of the forum,
right, that's what it is.
where the crater where the table was, as Teclissa and Anarian.
You mean the table that Finn picked up using magic and decided to beat vampires to death with? That
Yes.
table?
I would have, in respect to the elven court, made sure it was placed down exactly where it came from in the same position. Thank you very much.
I think it should
Make
be
an arcane check to see how well you can replug the hole. Retroactive arcane.
Arcane
I'm
check?
just gonna be honest.
Yeah,
with the
Arcana.
form-
Wouldn't it be something else? Why would it be
It's-
Arcana?
Because you're
Magic.
magically influencing the table.
Could it be a charisma?
But it's
check?
not like
Is it
knowledge of
spellcasting?
magic. Wouldn't it be more like a? I mean, they're all the same roles for me, so it doesn't really matter. But Arcana doesn't make any sense.
Please
to me
make an
personally.
Arcana check.
Sure, it's 10.
10. The table's back in there. It's the dirt is definitely ground up and it's definitely a little lopsided. I'm sure a druid can come by and do a patch job at some point. Sure.
I mean, let's be honest though, that's the coolest fucking war monument ever for a council meeting. You're like, oh, and here we have the table that we rest our laurels on, where one of the last council members got his face beat in by it for portraying all of us. Let's remember this as we go into court. Like, that's kind of cool.
Just a head dent
True.
in the part of the table.
I think that's metal as fuck.
But in any case, Renela is with Anarian currently. What are you holding, Gabe?
It's a dice case,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm waiting my turn.
Then
Gotcha.
I thought it was a tape measure.
So yeah, Renela is currently with Anarian, with Teclissa, and with Jareda as well. Oh, and Felda. Sorry. Calliope, what are you doing?
I am going to go first to both of them and say, I think we might have a heading of sorts.
Anarian looks over as Teclissa is now holding the orb aloft as magic is just pouring into her. You can see that her hands are now translucent. You can see the bones as if like it's like actively an X-ray, and you can see the hair just holding aloft, and the eyes glazed over with this glowing bright light, just almost like eye beams of like headlights. And Anarian is just kind of just nervously kind of standing there, unsure of what to do, and he kind of just does a double take on what you said and goes, "What? Oh, sorry. You have a plan."
We were invited to the Summer Palace by Corix Aferin, possibly a vampire of some renown.
Okay. You were
You-
invited.
He left a note and a teleportation circle.
I see.
It seems like a trap, but I don't know truly what's going on right now.
And I assume there's something stopping us from just sending in troops to that teleportation circle.
I would assume so.
Do you know or not, or is this, or are we?
Most of this is hearsay. Quintus, come here.
I saunter over while clutching my sending stone.
Imagine that as a very loud whistle, because I don't want
Okay.
to do it to you guys.
Quintus, this teleportation circle, tell me, is there a reason why we're not just sending in troops to go in through this teleportation circle?
Well, seeing as it would potentially leave you vulnerable here, might not be a strategic benefit, but also Arcana-wise, do I know? Is there anything that could prevent that from happening?
I mean, you would know how a teleportation circle works.
Basically, anyone who walks into it gets teleported within the round, right?
Yeah, within 6 seconds. People could cast it multiple times. Just start streaming people in. That's basically what he's asking, is like, we have this circle. Is there a reason why we shouldn't do this?
Well, from the letter, he seems to want to negotiate with us. Specifically.
And where is he?
Like I said, the Summer Palace.
He looks over to you, Calliope, and goes, "I'm sorry, I must have missed that. The Summer Palace, we saw it. We've heard nothing about the Summer Palace as a whole." We just know that there was someone squatting there.
Well, it seems like he's trying to host a party.
And that's why we cannot send anyone there. Old Fey court laws reside in the Summer Palace. If
You have to be invited. Oh.
and all of the rules of hospitality apply as well.
Do we have to bring a gift or something?
Mm.
Not necessarily, but you may find violence to be difficult.
There's a reason the Fae don't just kill each other on a regular occurrence for fun. They attempt to, but rules are rules. It's much more fun to manipulate. If we go there, the rules of hospitality will be in effect, and those are not to be broken. And this might be very difficult.
Should we bring wine?
Depending on who you talk to, when you give a gift to a Fae, it can be a bad thing or a good thing. I don't think it's a good idea to bring a gift as of right now. Actually, can I double check on that? Because I've seen mixed reports for that, Toggy.
You can, but right now you're just
Probably
being
not.
yeah.
Yeah.
In
Some of them, it traps your soul. Some of them, it's like, oh, thanks.
during this time, Zafari is out, trying to relay information. She's walked back to you, Hazonia, and Findamir. What are you two doing currently?
Nothing, I guess.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe just taking inventory before we step into what Hazonia's feeling is definitely a trap, but off we go. I guess she would want to check in with Felda, though, before they hit the road again.
Okay. Do you step by and kind of hang back a little bit while they're talking, or are you just kind of pulling Felda away as they are doing this ritual with this with the mythal?
Kind of just pull her away. And actually just kind of pull her away. Just
Okay.
I still don't trust that thing.
We'll get to that in a second. Findamir, are you kind of just standing by the teleportation circle marking?
Sure. I'm also gonna make sure that I switch over my cloak of many fashions or clothes of many fashions. I'm gonna switch to regal House of Irithyll, so black and gold,
Okay.
or all black with gold trim.
All right. Very easily done. You have a small little flourish, and boom. What little light there is around kind of catches that glitter before it settles down around your legs.
Yeah, I'll take it. Take a moment to try to like make my appearance look. I want to look regal, royal, like in control. I want to have the ability to essentially. I'm realizing like this is Finn's mindset. It's like, wow, everything's going crazy into shit, and like people need to feel like there's somebody that is in control. So if I were to run across people, they would be like, oh, that guy looks not like a prisoner that just like went through all this fucking ordeal and is exhausted as shit and like doesn't know what the fuck's going on, but instead like has a command of the situation and is ready to like tell me what to do.
Okay. Zafara, you return to Findamir as he has elegantly kind of flashed the cloak, his jacket cloak, and the style has changed as you approach.
Finn, would you like to reach out to Lorelei before we go?
Wow. Yeah, I would. I wasn't able to reach out to her yesterday.
pull out the sending stone and hand it to him.
All right. Before we do that, back to Calliope and Quintus and Arian to continue that conversation. Anarian is now just kind of rubbing at his face. Oh, I'm just going to say I think it's going to be a very bad idea to go there. I don't agree.
Well, if we're able to get information out of him on Kara, it might be the most valuable party we've ever gone to.
And if he is as well bound by the rules of hospitality, we might be potentially safe until those rules are broken.
You're assuming that he has to follow them.
If he doesn't, it might make it okay for us not to.
You're assuming quite a bit, Calliope.
Certainly true.
He just kind of closes his eyes, and when he opens them, they're just a little bit more wet. He kind of leans into both of you, Quintus and Calliope, in a hushed tone, goes, I cannot force you to stay. And Seldarine above knows we're running out of time and options. Please don't go. That's all I'll say on the matter. I understand if you think you have to. Frankly, you might. Just grips both of your shoulders, looks you dead in the eye, Calliope. I would really like to have a chat when you come back. When you come back.
When I come back, we'll have tea.
I hope you like jade. From what I remember, it was your mother's favorite.
What type of tea do I get when I have tea with Coralon?
Irish breakfast.
Love it.
Yes.
Far off mystical land of Ireland.
Ireland. Far off tea. Well, fuck me. Fuck me. Jesus Christ, I just completely lost my train of thought. That was a good one. Fuck.
You guys have tea of sunshine and lavender and all the
Mm.
floral
Yeah.
heavenly. There was no
Oh.
human tea that is Coralon's tea. Come
Yeah.
on now.
I don't know if I can collect the tea that I'd like to make, but if I can, I'll try and bring you some, and if not, I'm sure Jade will be fine.
He nods and goes back to the ritual as Teclissa arches back. You can almost hear the tendons of her spine almost like creak from the surge back of power. He goes and gives one final look of longing, of regret, and goes back to support Teclissa with Felda on the other side, like supporting Teclissa as more energy is kind of pouring off of the mythal. In the meantime, before that happened, though, you pulled Felda away, Hazonia.
But try not to stand too close to that thing.
I'll try not to. What's wrong?
My compatriots and I, we have another quest. We've been requested by name. The individual no one seems to recognize, and I'm sure we're walking into a trap, but hey, I've come back every time, haven't I? I'm sure we'll get through it.
What you're describing is gambling, and eventually the house wins.
Don't I know it? Listen, I know I say this every time, but I will be back. And I haven't lied to you yet, because I have come back every single time. But more and more it's seeming like I'm not so certain I believe it.
I do. And you want to know why I believe it? Because you are my daughter. And because I have trained you harder, better, and smarter than I have any other recruit or any other individual in my entire life. And more than that, I know you. And presses a finger directly over your heart. And I know there's no one more cunning and more intelligent when it comes to survival, traps, wits, or just simple tenaciousness. You stubborn, stubborn girl.
I'm hoping that this little excursion can at least give us something. And I'll be sure to tell you all about it when we return.
At that point, the energy is expanding outward. She turns quickly, looks to you, pulls you in and kisses you on the cheek.
Quick hug. We'll
Be
back.
careful.
I always am. Haven't died yet.
Just gives you just a not funny look and goes to support Teclissa. Quintus.
Is this thing on?
Is this to
Aurelia?
Okay. Aurelia, you are currently returning into you're returning from a previous mission, and you're laying down your rucksack and tossing it to the side of your accommodations at the Harper Hold in Waterdeep. And you kind of just collapse onto your bed face down in just tired exhaustion. You hear just a brief kind of muffled voice from your rucksack.
I go digging. She just goes digging through it and she pulls out like 2 different ones.
Hello?
They're not it. Keeps digging. She pulls out like 3 more.
Hello?
Okay. Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hello? Hi.
Is
How's it
the
going?
time still weird? What day is it? Has the spring equinox happened yet?
What year is it?
The spring equinox is tomorrow. It's about 3 in the afternoon currently, and many people are already getting ready for the festivities.
No, it's tomorrow. Some people are decorating. But like, put up some stuff on my wall.
Oh, I haven't talked to you about what's going to happen. Oh, gods. So the spring, you know the pillars that happened in Rashomon?
Minute has cut off.
We'll probably have to deal with that.
Aurelia,
That's like
you see the
after a
magic
nap.
the magic dies in the sending stone, and you know that you've used it for the day. All right. So Quintus just left the equivalent of the manager to the employee "we need to talk" email.
Oh God, I forgot to tell you about this horrible thing. Let me start.
No,
to
it's
tell you.
more like
It's
a.
really bad. You know those pillars? Bye.
Yeah,
Wasted
no,
about
she-
30
she
seconds
just-
stammering.
She just kind of looks at it and goes, "It sounds like something I will have to deal with after a nap." She just puts it off to the side. She gathers all the other ones, just puts them in the sack. I should really label these sending stones and who they go to. That's an after a nap situation too. Just put the sack aside.
Alrighty. So, does anyone else have anything else that they like to do? Oh,
I will.
yes, Safari.
I will also pull out my sending stone to Malar and go, Malar, checking in on my sister's status. Hope she is training with Flint on self-defense and fighting. I'm going somewhere possibly dangerous again, and it is possibly probable that I won't come back. Hopefully everything that I've told my other sisters, they will be able to assist in her situation if that occurs. I hope that the Glen is doing fine and everyone there is living their best life as well as you.
Malar quickly responds as there's not a lot of time left. Goes, yes, Safari, your sister has left the Glen, has returned back to Boulder's Gate, has trained with Flint. I will alert them of your passing if I hear of it. Eldeth guide your path.
You as well.
And the sending stone
There's-
ends.
Bren and Pashian anywhere? Are they coming?
Yes, you do see Pashian return, but not Bren. As Pashian kind of walks over and sees you by yourself, Findemir, and kind of walks over to you and says, "Odd one out again."
What else is not new?
You see, this is what happens when you don't know how to make any friends, Findemir.
I'm good at making friends, just not keeping them.
You know that is really not a distinction.
I think it is.
I know you do. Why'd your heavenly friend summon me?
Am I aware of the summoning?
You saw Safari walk to the guards, but you don't know what she did.
Which heavenly friend?
You have multiple.
Oh, it depends on the definition of heavenly. Heavenly and,
The redhead.
well, Calliope, yeah, well, not that heavenly. Hazonia, heavenly in spirit. Oh, the redhead. All right.
So Hazonia.
So Hazonia.
Sony has black hair.
I wasn't talking about your
red-
hair.
You're right. Right, Zafari.
That
In the middle of
Rouge,
this
though.
banter, Safari, you walk up to Pashian and Findemir.
You summoned Did somebody summon the white?
Immediate hand across the mouth.
Yes, I figured, we'd want to see both of our brothers, but it seems that mine does not want to speak with me.
The white geldling will have to suffice then.
Pashian takes on a serious tone and looks over to you, Zafari, and go, don't take it personally. He's getting a bit aggressive and unstable. He's not really himself right now, as I could gather. Don't blame him.
I wasn't going to. I was just going to say a potential goodbye.
Looks over to you immediately, Findemir, and goes, is that a solo goodbye, or are you going with her too? And why are you saying goodbye? Why are you saying goodbye?
Uh, um, I don't know. It's always some stuff with this group, you know. Honestly,
I
I
just
blame
elbow
them.
Finn.
Yes, it's serious. It's tough stuff, and it just I didn't know what to say. She summoned you, and yes, it was the right thing to do. Oh, we don't know what we're stepping into, but it's probably bad.
I don't know about Finn, but I spent a lot in the forum at the end there. I have a few things at my disposal to help keep anybody that needs to be up. I don't have a whole lot left if we need it.
He looks over to you as well, Findamir, and after nodding and listening intently on the words the fairy says, and says, "And what about you, little brother? How tapped are you?"
Don't look at me. I look fantastic. I look well rested and put together. I literally took an action to do that. I mean, I literally took a moment to do that.
Make a deception check for me.
Damn it, Passion. You know me too freaking well. I'll take you with disadvantage because that's real. He knows me very well.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Is it a deception? You said yes.
Deception.
Indeed.
78,000.
Well, that's pretty fucking good. And that's pretty. 28 is my lower of the two.
Pashian seems fooled as he kind of like looks you up and down. Well then,
You know me. I don't care about anybody else besides myself. I didn't spend any spells. Not a one.
he nods at that obvious joke and looks over to Safari and looks back to you and go, well then, if you are so unbelievably well rested and prepared, I'm gonna have to ask you to keep her safe. Because I don't know what I'm going to do about her brother if she ends up dead. So, consider a personal favor from me if you can keep this one safe. Be a huge cockblock if you let her die.
Fair point. And I would never cockblock. That's like literally number one on the list of don't do's. Have my word. The unblockage of the cockage shall be done. I'll keep
He
her
just goes to say something, closes his mouth, shakes his head, looks to you, Zafari, and goes, after everything is said and done, you really do need to get him laid. And he just leaves.
I didn't let me get so flushed.
He had the option.
And from then on, they called him the Corked Stallion.
So,
You might want to call Lorelai.
yeah, I was about to say, you do have the sending stone in your hand, Findamir.
I'll try to reach out.
Okay. From the other line, you what do you say first of all?
Hello. Can you hear me?
From the other end, you hear.
Jeeves.
Yes, thank you. I don't know why I forgot his name. Yes, Master Findamir. What can I do for you?
We're in a bit of a pickle, and I want to say a few words, just so that Lorelai knows that she's loved, at least by me. A bit of a potential goodbye, as morbid as that is.
Well, Master Findamir, I'm afraid that she's in school currently. Although I will say that she is very well loved by not only Matilda, but the inhabitants of the mansion as well, myself included.
Well, as long as you love her, then I guess that makes up for shitty old me. Well,
Real
if you can,
quickly, Findamir, please, Tell me, what would you like to tell her?
The events of the past are not your fault. Fate brought you to a different path and a different set of parents, and you are truly loved and truly special, and you deserve every bit of goodness this world has to offer. Okay, guys, really? Thumbs down for that? Really? Really? Okay. You want to know something? I don't even want to put no.
That was a bad time for the music to go bad.
Sorry,
Um,
Keenan.
As you say that, you feel, as you say all of that, you feel the magic die. You feel like you're pretty sure that the message went through.
I'll write a letter and
I'm gonna put my hand on Finn's shoulder. You're not shitty. You're literally trying to save the world so she has one to live in. I had a pretty good dad, and
Not yet.
you're up there.
Not
You're
yet.
up there. You're
but
like
I'll-
number 2.
Fucking will be though. I'm going to try, and I'll take out a letter and I'll start writing. I'll write one more of the messages I have, if I have any more paper. Put it in the rest.
Okay.
And if there's a bit of if there's the bit of the table tree, some bark or anything, I'll take that and I'll put that in the envelope for the letter.
Oh, there's definitely some bits. Yeah.
I mean, not that many bits though, right?
There's
Not
quite a
much.
bit. There's quite a few bits.
Okay, well, I'll take the prettiest looking bit that's, not egregiously larger.
Sure.
Bits.
I'll put the rest back together.
Alrighty. Does everyone reconvene?
I still had 2 more things I wanted to do. So
Oh, go ahead,
technically
Calliope.
3, unfortunately. With Renela, I'm gonna reach the same subject. I was told possibly to come to you about this.
Oh,
It came in contact with the Mythal, and
why?
they're both connected to a god. I was trying to free 50,000 elves. I don't know anything about Mythals.
Okay. Well, I think there's a way to repair it. We haven't had one broken in a long, long time. I'll have to go through the records. I'll see what I can do.
If you can. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Just nods. At least you're still alive. That's the important part.
Let's focus on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. When I return,
Huh?
I'll owe you one. I'm sorry.
He just nods and just don't worry. We're going to get through this. Corellon will guide the way, and the moons will shine upon us again.
Oh, he better.
All right. Anything else you would like to do?
Yeah, I wanted to talk with Quintus and then my mother.
Okay.
There you go.
Isolde has left, unfortunately.
She's not still okay.
No, she left when you wouldn't know this, but Fendemir would know that she exited with Tyrion to go toward the house. But you can go talk to Quintus. He's available, I assume. Are you available, Quintus?
After I realize I fucked up on the sending stone, I'm gonna pull out some parchment and a pen and start writing a note.
Okay. in the middle of the as he is like furiously writing a note on the back of his book. You approach Calliope.
I don't suppose you have any power available to cast a sending spell, do you?
If it's necessary, I can do so. Who to?
Erythor, he disappeared randomly in the middle of that fight.
I don't know if he wants to hear from me.
I'm sure he disappeared because he doesn't want to hear from anyone. But that doesn't change that I'd like to make sure if it's possible that he's alive.
Very well.
Can you, if it's possible, tell him his departure was noted, that we're heading to the Summer Palace, and that if he can reach out when he can, and ask if he's okay. I know that's a lot for a number of words.
Calliope checking in. We are going to Summer Palace. Your absence is noticed. Please respond. Calliope misses you.
Okay.
You reply with your status, please and thank you, and thanks.
Please and thank.
You send the message out, and almost immediately you hear back, "Stay away! Don't stay away! Do not come to the Summer Palace! Tell Calliope I'm sorry!" Ends.
Hot Strand.
Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Are you serious? We've got to go. I'm going to do one of those, taxi culling whistles that I can't do in this room.
Sure. Yeah, you all of you hear the shrill cut in the air of the whistle and see Calliope just marching toward where the symbol is.
I think it's go time.
Oh shit. Finish up. Fuck.
What's wrong?
Erythor's at the fucking Summer Palace. He seems to be tortured in some way, and he said not to come, so can you guess
Of
where we're
course
going?
we're going.
That's the fucking plan.
Wait, what? Through the way they told us. What? Can we go a different way?
Has anyone else been there?
Would I know how to get there if we didn't go through the teleportation circle?
You would know that the Summer Palace is at least a 5 days journey.
Teleportation. Yeah. All right. Great. All right.
Ryan, do you know who Kirk Zephyrin is? Do you know who that is? Have you recognize the name? You seem to know so many things you don't tell me. What is going on?
You just see Gorion just step behind Calliope and just look to you and goes, "Nothing I say will prepare you."
That's reassuring. All right.
Well, what did he say?
Select fortress.
Even if he tells us more information, it will not prepare us for what's about to happen.
I mean, I feel like that's for me to decide. But
I think he's saying
Okay.
get on with it.
What happens if you die with him being bound to you? Does he like get released or something? Is this like a challenge for him, or like he's just done with you? How does this work?
I think we've had a similar discussion before. We don't know. So let's go.
All right.
Let's
Do you-
go.
Do you cast? We're about to end soon, so.
Teleportation circle.
All right. You see the teleportation circle being kind of traced around the ashen symbol on the ground as the light flares up. Do you all step inside?
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
One by one.
One by one.
Let me see here 1 second here.
You all die.
Ooh, are we about to see a map?
Well, sure.
doom.
I'll show you a
Map
map.
of our doom.
But
I'll
my
show you.
EBDB.
I'll show you what you see. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Oh God.
Where'd it go? Where is it?
Please hurry, my bladder is so full.
It's not there anymore. What the fuck? I'll have to make it later.
All right.
I don't think it's saved. How disappointing. All of you step inside. As you all immediately the air changes. It is suffocating, cold, pressing in around you and almost crushing your lungs. And as you are adjusting to the dark, overcast, shadowy light, the purple lightning cascading down, immediately you stand across a cliffside, overseeing a putrid lake. In the lake is what seems to be remnants of a beautiful arched and veiny ivy tower. Much of what seemed to be an opulent palace made of crystal and wood and rock and architecture is laying broken at the bottom of this now toxic lake. Before you stands a very gothic castle-like mansion, standing imposing upon over you hundreds of feet high, the middle tower shadowing even the darkest of the dim light around you. Creatures howl and shriek off in the distance in the nearby dead, thorny forest around you. The doors open. The large 20-foot high dual doors swing as a figure steps forward. Hazonia, you recognize this individual of this man clad in dark, almost insectoid, chitin-like armor, covering almost his entire body. A flowing cape and a very geometric crown upon his head, emphasizing his gaunt features. The long ponytail tied into the back. And he stands before you all. He looks at each and every one of you with a very warm smile. Greetings. I'm so glad that you have joined for my invitation. Who's hungry? We're gonna end it there tonight.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Is this Twilight Zone thing? Are we the meal?
Amadeus?
Yeah, yeah. It's been a long game. You pieces of shit.
Don't
I
leave
am one
yet.
hungry blacksmith.
I'm
I
trying to
work
see
up
if-
big sweat.
Hmm.
Now I
Yeah, I'm
make
try-
obelisks and fuck your party twice. Hey hey.
Yeah, you'll just have to see the castle later. My mistake, guys.
Rip.
Um, Toggy, the rules of Fey hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
But
Can
to ask,
you-
do we eat things? Are we allowed? Do we not?
It depends on the version. That's why I whatever Toggy's version is, I would like to know what it is because I've seen some that are wildly contrasting.
So here's the thing: you're kind of while you are in your element a bit,
Mhm.
Calliope, you're also out of your element because it is an elven culture
Mhm.
using Fey-like rules. So how much of that was twisted with the Summer Palace, and
Mm.
how much is there to protect versus to enforce?
Mm.
Unfortunately, you do not know what is really what. You can know the basics, and
Right.
which can help you in a broad sense, but how much is sticking with elven culture
Right.
versus
Then is there any chance you could send me what the Fey version of that in for your game would be? Because I've had some where it's like, if you eat their food, you're fucked. And then some where it's like, if you refuse their food, you're fucked. And it's like, if you eat their food and you're not a guest, you're fucked. If you eat the fruit, if you are a guest, you're fucked. It's like,
I'll
okay.
send you the well, here's the thing, because all of it is correct. It depends on which court you're
Yeah.
going to.
Absolutely.
So summer court, one summer court hospitality may be different with winter court hospitality and
Mhm.
have those things blend together. So why don't you share with me the main ones that you think Calliope is used to, and I can go ahead and verify if that's correct or not. But yeah,
Pulling that shit up right now.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go pee.
yes. If anyone has any questions or whatnot of the session, please reach out to me and all that whatnot, and I'll reach out Monday to see if people are available Saturday. But otherwise, have an awesome night, and yeah, take care, all.
Night, everybody.
I'll see y'all later.
Cheers, everyone.
I'm sending you 2 sets, by the way, Toggy, because I have 2 different sets.
Okie dokie.
I'll just link. I literally just copy paste them into your thing. Both of them are in my character sheet written down because I do that.
Perfecto.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
See you, everyone.
See ya.